and convince children to maim and mutilate themselves and commit suicide. And we are producing record numbers of arrests under that law. And the dedication of the men and women at the FBI who want to go out there and do the job they were prevented from doing because that department used to be weaponized and politicized. And this is what happens when you take out the fangs of weaponization. This number is historic by every metric. 28,000 people have been arrested, violent felons alone. And when you go over there and look at some of these charts, if you don't mind.
Made a nice comment the other day when he referenced me as being a hard-working guy to get the pipeline completed.
Along with dozens of other members of Congress, wrote to you and Attorney General Bondi expressing grave concern over your decision to effectively legalize corruption and politicize prosecutorial decisions. And he asked unanimous consent to enter this letter into the record.
Development was because of the.
Thank you. I don't have time today to walk through all your questions, all of our questions and concerns, but will you commit to answering this letter in short order so that we can understand what factors led to this decision?
Consequently, we felt that we, the Nueces River Authority, could do a better job facilitating the construction of the pipeline and financing it, simply because we were in Uvalde County, not Nueces County. We accomplished that, built the pipeline. The city committed to, at that time, to maintain the pipeline. I think the city is, maybe based on my observation, I'm no longer involved with the Nueces Authority, nor am I directly involved with the operation of the pipeline. But I think that the city has done less than an admirable job on the pipeline. And we can move a lot of water down the pipeline to ease the demands we're faced with now with the lack of rain.
Already unleashed 1,000 FBI personnel across this country. Every single state across this country is getting a plus up. This is a fiction that the FBI is short, or that we are compromising the men and women in the field. They do not need to be in Washington, D.C., so we're sending them into the field to each and every one of your states. Because of that, crime is at an all-time low.
Already targeting career officials so that you could direct illegal firings. Mind you, these cases that you were so upset about, which are the ones tied to Trump, the cases came through his handpicked FBI director.
But
and frankly, when people sit around and say things like, oh, you know, we're happy because now we feel safe, I don't know who feels safe in this country except for the white supremacists.
Already doing what this resolution says it's supposed to do. So I don't think it's earth-shattering that we're going to vote on this resolution. Again, I think that the reason why some of us are pushing for the Massey counter resolution bill is because we think all the documents ought to be released. And the president promised he would do that during his campaign.
And several of which are being used for fraud against the citizens
received from the Trump administration after the subpoena for the records was executed, and how quickly started receiving the
as soon as the subpoena went out, we heard from the Department of Justice. Their attorneys started communicating with our attorneys, and they started gathering the documents, and I think we got the documents in record time. I can't remember a time when we subpoenaed the
information you've already received from the Trump administration after the subpoena for the records was executed, and how quickly the committee started receiving
the subpoena went out. We heard from the Department of Justice. Their attorneys started communicating with our attorneys, and they started gathering the documents, and I think we got the documents in record time. I can't remember a time when we subpoenaed the mayor.
Already, you're going to be on this panel. Okay. That will be with the
obvious heavy industry action. All this while some industrial plants in town like Corpus are working on farms to recycle the water that they use. Other places may follow suit, making this desal plant obsolete. But the city manager, the mayor, Mark Scott, Roland Barrera will not acknowledge their plans because they are stuck on desal. To please a donor, I'm sure.
It's already started because of that guy right there, Lee. By far the most important man in the room, Mr. Speaker. Stand up, Lee.
12.5% of treated water. Commercial institutions like hotels and hospitals only use 13, while industry
He
uses
blows you
close
guys
to
away, John.
75%
He
of the
blows the
treated water in our
politicians away.
city.
I'm sorry right
They are
now.
pushing
He
this
actually, he's a great
desalination
politician.
plant
He
and
almost won
saying
for
it's the
governor in New
solution
York,
when the
which is
permit
just
for the project
missed by a
says
few
in black
points.
and white that this water is
that
not
was
for
another race
community
that was not
consumption.
winnable.
It
Already the
is
most
strictly for
successful
industry.
anti-cartel
The
and
price of
anti-gang operation in American
$1.5
history.
billion for
And it's
taxpayers
just getting
that will
started.
receive higher utility
We have
bills all
incredible
around,
people. A lot
the
of them are
debt
in this
and
room
the
with us
maintenance
today, and
costs,
it's an
but
honor
not
to
a
have them.
drop of that
But
water.
we will not stop
Millions of
until
gallons a
the
day,
threat has
all
been fully
free
and completely
99.
eradicated. I want
This
to
is a
thank
statement of
task
fact.
force members with us
All
today,
free 99 for
including
industries that could never
person
bring
who's
in
doing
enough
a
jobs to
fantastic
justify
job,
this
Attorney
gross
General
injustice to
Bondi.
citizens of Corpus Christi.
Okay, we're going to interrupt you. Okay, can you explain what is happening here or why, just so you understand? Go ahead, Miles.
Statement is boisterous. The statement is not simply a factual statement. It's excessively boisterous.
Okay. Guys, stop. Okay. If you okay, you know what? I'm gonna
Actually, I've said what I need to say. We're good.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask people to leave now because if y'all cannot again, well, you're wondering why. I know you're wondering. You're the look on your faces. You don't understand why. I've asked. You all have been here all day. So if you are going to be out of decorum, if you choose to speak and I mean, if you are choosing to, whether it's your friend or not, to be speaking while they're at the podium. Yes, that's. Do y'all want to go back through the decorum? You want me to read that again? So that way, if there's any questions at all, that y'all can ask questions. Because I know you know better. You're here every single week, and we love that you're here. We do, yeah, we do. But I'm going to start asking this. I'm going to start with this front row to leave. If you break decorum. Breaking decorum means breaking the rules. And that is the rules that I read at the beginning of this. Yeah.
Donna Stockwell, resident of Corpus Christi for 30 years. This is my first time, and Mr. Cantu told me to be nervous because you guys could be mean. So, but mine's an easy fix. I'm not here to talk about the water situation, desal, roads, or our current credit rating. Because I think you're planting sod, and it sounds ridiculous because of all the problems, but you're planting sod that requires water, and the sod is going to turn dormant and it's going to die. It's a waste of money. And on top of that, I have sent you pictures. I think all of you have the pictures I have sent. I don't know what those round things are called that are they're all going down into the storm drains and 42 of the storm drain outlets. And I find it a travesty. And you said to, email you, about the costs, which I have emailed you. And I have emailed Peter Z twice over the past 3 weeks, and I have not had any response. So I'd really kind of like to know who is responsible for it, who's paying for it. Water is being run off on the sidewalks. It's not even on the sod. Spend the money when it's going to go to seed.
The city manager can address that, or you can have a staffer.
Address it, but we'll have somebody meet with you, Mr. Stockwell. From,
they're coming.
They'll come out, they'll come out, promote that. We're going to the council members for somebody to come get you.
Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am. You're welcome.
This area that she's referencing may be a contractor that we need to go back.
Okay. All right, well, Peter, you can take it. And...
Go ahead, Councilman Paxton, what did you say?
So it's a new project where they just went through quite a long distance and been replaced a sidewalk. And so all of this, I think, looks like part of that work.
That's on float.
It's on Rodfield Road, right by SPID.
Yeah, okay.
Thank
Okay,
you.
we're gonna look into it.
For
We'll get,
getting back on time,
Rashidi?
and we'll call the
Miriam?
committee back to order.
Miriam Guerra? Rashidi? Alejandro Benavides?
Believe that we will recognize Mr. Scott.
Mr. Benavides, you spoke on the desal, that's what you're signed up for? So you guys spoke on it once, sir?
So do I get to speak?
You can't, not on the same item.
Okay, I'll speak on resource
Is
management.
this video screen, you guys? Yes or no?
It's hard to trust, it's hard for the public to trust what's going on with our resources and how they're being managed. When, mayors and council members alike caught with their hands in a cookie jar. There's been council members giving contracts to,
Also, I believe the white
they
vehicle
don't
that
recruit yourself
flashed
ever.
last name.
Everybody's a friend. You know, if you're a friend, then
Yeah,
you might
you're
get
saying
a
that way.
over here. Maybe if the small businesses came, the ones that you guys keep rejecting, and I'm not for bars and all these things, but perhaps they should. He should have said he'll bring you the empty glass so that you guys can recycle it and make money from it. Because it seems like the only thing that this council is approving is big business industry and guys who are willing to pay. It's been said by council members before. Money's in the pockets of the council members present and past.
1490.
Present and past. That money will make you flip-flop. That money will make you not care about Hillcrest residents. That money will make you say, you know what? Some people want to wash their car more than I care about life expectancy for our historically black residents here in Corpus Christi. Trying to keep my voice down and not be too boisterous. However, like I said, if you want to build with the community, it'd be nice if we had transparency, and maybe we can motion and create policies where if you're in the middle of these investigations or something, you don't have the right anymore to come in and determine where our money goes, because we have already caught you with your hands in the cookie jar. And if your hands been caught in the cookie jar, don't think that in a year everybody's just going to forget about it.
He did it again.
All right, we're losing parks.
5 years
we don't
I've
have
been recruiting
sidewalks.
cops in Corpus without
We have a manufactured water crisis that you guys are trying to get through. And it's just really super ridiculous already. You're taking away parks from Sac. You're offering a park to Hillcrest when you just voted on this today. Like,
one of the copies is an email that I sent to
we got your
council members
Look at Sackey
earlier.
Park. Oh, they have this. Now we get to take some of the land.
Well, vote.
They're saying
the other one
that park hasn't been touched in decades.
Picture
the backstop's way too high for any children to even touch it. There's zero coverage.
Please state your comments, sir, and said your name.
There's not water out there, and this is the exact way all of our parks are right now. Most of them, anyways. So. Resource management, I think we can do a lot better once we get the crooks out of here. And the city will actually trust everybody, and we won't have to come to make sure that everybody's understood in every single chance.
Armand Alex.
Also said in 302 that the agent recorded that the witness provided the interviewing agents with copies of both his handwritten notes and an email. So he gave them the stuff he wrote, and at the actual time this was taking place. That's all in the 302.
Operations out of the Port of Tampa, and I was down there in South Florida.
We are watching decisions in the city drift
Director
further
Patel,
and
since
further
October
away
7th,
from that basic
2023
truth.
Hamas attack,
And as a
the
coastal
FBI has
scientist
been
and a mental
task
justice,
force
I need
October
to be
7th.
clear that
Isn't it correct that this task
desalination
force is
not
actively working to bring
it is
justice?
not being
Also,
pursued
you know,
in this region
we
for families or
began our August
schools or
recess early,
neighborhoods.
as
It's being
none of you wanted to
pursued
take a
for industry.
vote and hold this
The same
administration
industry
accountable,
that uses
and you ran out of
almost
town.
half of our current water supply and
So again,
produces the
and
majority
you know,
of
want
our
to do something
region's
bipartisan?
emissions.
Maybe we all can join
The
on a
same
bipartisan
industry whose
appeal to
pollution
this
accelerates the climate
administration to
crisis,
find out why
which
Ghislaine
makes our
Maxwell
droughts worse,
was moved
our storms
to a
even
cushy
stronger, and our
facility
infrastructure even more fragile.
after she exonerated
This is
Donald
not
Trump.
resource management. This is
So
resource
Also 6
extraction.
times.
dressed
at
up as
recharging
progress.
stations, adding an
And the city
estimated
keeps
9
talking
hours
about growth,
to
but
the
growth
trip.
for
I don't know
who?
too much about the
We
trucking
cannot
industry,
build
but this
a
is not
resilient
sounding
city
good.
by funneling water to
Here
industries
to
that
discuss a
poison
little
the
bit
air
about
and
the
heat the
trucking
planet.
industry.
We cannot talk
Gina
about drought
Jones
while
and Gina,
handing
a real expert
unlimited,
on
quote unquote,
trucks, I can
water
tell
to
you that. Going to come up and
that
tell
have
us about
never
trucks.
faced curtailment.
Thank you, Gina.
We cannot talk about future generations while
Also
ignoring
further
every
slash the
scientific
funding
warning
for the
about
Green New
climate
Scam.
change,
As you know, it's the
about
greatest
sea level
scam in
rise
history.
and extreme weather.
Saving American
Resource management
taxpayers
means
hundreds of billions of dollars.
It means resilience.
The windmills are
It
killing
means
our country, by
planning
the
for
way.
the disasters we know
The
are
fields are
coming,
littered
not
with them,
doubling
junk.
down on the
They're littered
systems
with
that
them.
caused the
And
crisis
they
in
get
the first
older, and they
place.
get rusty, and they get
And so I'm
bad,
here to
and they
speak
get-
for water democracy.
This is other
The
countries
people
also.
must
It's the greatest
control the
scam in history.
resources that
It's the most
sustain their
expensive energy you
lives.
can buy.
Say it again. The
They're
people must
ugly. A friend
control
of
the
mine-
resources that sustain their lives. That principle is true today, as it was then when it's supposed to operate. The people of Corpus Christi deserve real investment in conservation. We deserve real investment in water reuse, investment in infrastructure repair, leak reduction, and climate-ready planning. We deserve transparency, not backroom deals. We deserve leadership that trust communities above corporations. And we deserve a water system that protects life, not one that accelerates the climate crisis that puts our lives at risk. Resource management is a choice. Water democracy is also a choice. And finally, I ask you to continue our with dealing with sustainable water sources.
These planes were modified primarily for certain studies in connection with the scheduled high-altitude events over Johnston Island. In addition to their test missions,
Thank you,
the
Mr. Alex.
135s had an in-flight refueling capability for the B-52 drop plane, should the need arise.
25 seconds to detonation.
As 0 hour approached, the Air Operations Center became the focal point.
Also, I present a host of letters.
Petition behind the camera that is playing political games to our community and our tax dollars than doing his job. As of today, here is a vast list of reasons why we should not trust nor allow an incompetent city manager to force a $1.2 billion experimental project that will destroy our way of life here and the debt it will
Other than
burden
Epstein
future
and Ghislaine
generations to come
Maxwell,
in our
your testimony, and so that federal funding has now been cut off. But a lot of us in California still have questions as to where all the money went. We're 17 years into this project, and absolutely nothing has been built. Not a single bit of track has been laid. There are no stations. There are no passengers. And the plan initially was to have the whole thing, LA to San Francisco, done by 2020 at a cost of $33 billion. Yet here we are.
Participate with costs and voluntary curtailments. Failure to negotiate vendor contracts that are in favor of and protect this community. Refusal to listen to community members against the experimental Inner Harbor desal project. Refusal to take directives from his bosses, city council members that voted 6-3 against pursuing the experimental project. Direct or indirect involvement of degrading an elected official that does not include due to a medical emergency. Failure to update a drought contingency plan in a timely fashion that does not include industry restrictions until stage 4. Failure to provide a curtailment plan well in stage 3 restrictions. Incapable of ample Corpus Christi water directors, assistant city managers, and a management and budget department that is described as increasingly toxic and unsustainable, incapable of transparency and community inclusion. We have the real problem here is we made a bad hire, and it's time that we replace that position with someone who cares about this community, who cares about the debt that we're being put into. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Caballero. Adam Rios.
For example, in your book, American Crusade, you wrote, quote, modern leftists literally hate the foundational idea of the other side, the left.
Adam Rios, Corpus Christi. I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving and recognize that this is Day of American Heritage Month. Glad we all went out for that. This month, I'm reminded that gratitude is not passive. It's active, lived, carried, and earned, and I am thankful. Native American Heritage Month is a reminder that history is not a relic, but a pulse, still beating in our languages, our songs, our stories, and our survival. I'm thankful for my wife, her friendship, her patience, for knowing how to reel me in and hold the line when I'm flying too high, like an out-of-control kite, because that happens from time to time. She keeps me grounded, centered, and whole. I'm thankful for my son Atticus for being fearless in his triumphs and bold in his reach. I'm thankful for my father who clawed his way out of poverty in La Cuarenta and served this country with discipline and pride.
There has to be more work done in the
I'm thankful for my
region
late mother whose love was unconditional, whose faith was to be shared, not forced, rooted in kindness, generosity, and the belief that
what is the one thing that coming into
she was a true Christian woman. I'm grateful for my traditions, cultures, and religions that have welcomed me, shaped me, and gifted me in the ways to see the world. I'm thankful for the
China play a role in this
the original do-it-yourself spirits who pushed forward despite gatekeepers, who built something from nothing and taught us that independence is its own revolution. I'm thankful for local hip-hop, for its truth-telling, its activism, its ability to turn raw life into rhythm and resistance. I'm thankful for Freddie Fenner, a storyteller who smuggled empathy into the heart of country music. I'm thankful for the American Indian movement, being a proud member nation, the Water People, which carries weight, the White Mountain People, the Cayotero clan, for almost 6 centuries of survival training, hashtag still here. I'm thankful for being open-minded, for not being a hypocrite, for not being the kind of man who hides behind rhetoric and disrespect, by plugging his ears and remaining seated during another person's prayer, just because it's spoken in a language or religion that he doesn't understand. See, gratitude means listening, even when the words are not yours. I'm thankful for the organizations and individuals that were and continue to be a part of my life. Texas Gulf Surfing Association, CCBMX, MD Serpentskate, Benjamin Serpentskate, Fighting to Rid Gangs in America, run by my mentor, Elko Cuey Rene Rodriguez. Project Turnaround, Communities and Schools. For my new friend Lamont from the Hillcrest community. For Cole Park, for the future of X Games. I thank my high school teacher, Mr. Wilson, who taught me honors English, humanities, and creative writing. He reminded me that creativity is yet another form of survival. And finally, I'm thankful simply for being here alive. As always, thank you all. Think global, support local, especially nonprofits during this holiday season. Thank you.
So now they're coming in by land.
Thank you, Mr. Rios.
And even the land is concerned because I told them that's going to be next. You know, the land is going to...
Mr. Klein, you also spoke on the item earlier.
Yes, Jim Klein here, Corpus Christi. I asked Grace to change my topic to talk about a proposed water commission. I think I mentioned this last month, I'd like to bring it to your attention again. They need to increase the transparency of this process by which new water customers are allowed to come into the city to access the water system. A proposed water commission by the city council to do just that. I think it would be modeled upon the same format that the planning commission currently uses right now as well.
And a proud Hindu. So I congratulate you on being a breakthrough in this sense and being a beneficiary of the civil rights movement that opened up the FBI and the federal workforce to lots of people who never would have been hired in its first decades. You shared David Hoover's dangerous obsession over professionalism and effective public policy. For Hoover, it was blind loyalty to him in keeping his secrets. For you, it's blind loyalty to Donald Trump in keeping his secrets.
American auto workers would be destroyed. It's one of the reasons I did so well with the United Auto Workers.
I think that
and now I'm really doing well with them. I did phenomenally with them. No Republican ever got any numbers like that. I got the Teamsters too. Sean O'Brien, they're the Teamsters. Those guys, they like Trump because I produce jobs. They know that. Everybody knew that the auto workers with the tariffs were.
That if the council decided to vote contrary to the wishes of the water commission, much like the planning commission now would have required a
American people in this area, and I said, we got to tell them to get out because something could happen soon. And I don't want to be the one that didn't give any warning and missiles are flying into their buildings.
And other people have mentioned this, very wise people, I think.
So I had to do it.
There's a real need for a graduated water rate.
You know, I had the choice. Do I do it or not? Doing it has its downside, but it also has its upside. Like you're going to save a lot of lives if it should happen. Hopefully that doesn't happen.
For that reason, I believe that should adopt a water rate schedule by which those who use the largest volumes of water
Our mission is to provide financial, physical, and emotional support. This gives me a unique perspective to share the collective experience
Isabella Riza?
of those who have been harmed, not just by the COVID-19 vaccines themselves, but also by the U.S. government. React 19 surveyed our 36,000 members, asking if the FDA
Isabella Riza,
takes
District
vaccine
2 co-founder for the Greater Good. I actually
Thank you, both of you,
the
for
framing of making decisions and some people coming up as special interest and other people coming up as reflecting a public interest. And what I want to say is that in capitalist democracy,
And it's only because of your work that we know the scope of the number of victims today. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And there are key differences between this resolution that we're considering in our committee and the Mass Econa resolution.
Paulison's 30-minute propaganda piece on
American officer who got milligrams and kilograms mixed up. In other words, he made a mistake of thinking 1/1000th of a gram was the same as 1,000 grams, which is a mistake of a million times. So when the CIA got the intelligence that there were 100 million doses on the market, in fact, there were 100 doses.
The man who would oversee the CIA's research into drugs and most of the agency's behavior programs is this man, Dr. Sidney Gottlieb.
Drinking water. We started trying to raise awareness around desal because we saw that it wasn't for the people. But we were going to have both in terms of our dollars, but also in terms of our health and our
for
future.
Americans to realize
We've
in
been
just 7
for
months,
parks
you're on track
and libraries.
to produce the lowest murder
We tried to
rate
fight the budget
in
cuts in
modern
2018
US
around that.
history
We adopted a
by
park
double digits.
because we wanted
Those
to
are
show the
results
community what
not of
happens when you
mine.
invest
Those
in
are
public
results
spaces.
of the men and women of the
And
FBI.
we,
If you want to
actually wrote
criticize me,
grants
bring
to
it
get
on. But
irrigation
do not
in our
attack
park
the
because
brave leaders in the field.
The city wouldn't allow us
We are
to
also
do our
working
own work to put
24/7,
irrigation lines so
365
that we
on the
could plant
opioid
trees,
epidemic
'cause
that is
that
killing
park
more
didn't
than
have anything about
100,000
feeding
people a
it.
year.
And
We have seen
in a picnic
1,600
table.
kilograms of fentanyl.
Now it's got a playground.
But it did,
it's
didn't
got
it,
a
Director?
shade structure.
Not
we've
just
got
any Americans, it
lighting,
happened
we've
with
got water, we've got trees,
the President of the
we've
United
got
States.
food.
Is that accurate?
We have a sign.
Yeah, and you were the key guy in helping expose that. And I think our country will be forever grateful for what you did to let the country know that was going on involving Americans, which is not supposed to happen, and not just, again, any
some of that
American,
money
but
to
the
go
President
towards
of
parks
the
and
United
recreation.
States.
Americans want to
for
know
being boisterous,
that whoever they
because
are,
I was upset that you were
whatever
going to
their
increase the
political
fees
affiliation,
for people, and because
that
I
the
had seen
response
in
is
the
going
summer,
to be the
Parks
same,
and Rec
and it is
centers
going to be done with the
closed
same
when there's
diligence.
there
And
was
I'm
clearly a
wondering
need
if you
for-
will
for
commit to me
community,
right now
in public
that
spaces.
you will be
And so,
a voice
you know, when it's social
right now,
workers and something
standing
more than
up
just
to those
policing our
voices in
community
the
and selling our
administration that are
resources, and that's what For the
adding
Greater
to the
Good's
violent
about.
rhetoric right now. That's what I'm asking you. Will
I'm
you
the
commit to
Not
this?
creativity and
Americans' money. Save the
and
taxpayers'
imagining
money.
a better
8 months.
tomorrow, and also to
8
get
months,
the
Director Patel has
community
given
to
us the
believe that they
facts.
deserve better.
Is into the weaponization at the
offering
FBI. Americans, it happened with the President of the United States.
It's like it's a
Is that accurate?
facade, and it's
Yes.
Yeah, and you were the key guy in helping expose that. And I think our country will be forever grateful for what you did to let the country know that was going on involving Americans, which is not supposed to happen, and not just, again, any American, but the President of the United States.
Americans want to know
Susie Saldana.
that whoever they are, whatever their political affiliation, that the response is
Jennifer
going to
Espino?
be the same. And it is going to be done with the same diligence. And I'm wondering if you will commit to me right now that
Hi,
you will be
Jennifer
a
Espino,
voice
Corpus Christi,
right now,
like
standing
many
up
working
to
class
those
Corpus Christians, I
voices
didn't
in the
have the time to be
administration
here earlier,
that are
and I really
adding,
don't have the time to be here
adding to the
now.
violent rhetoric right
So I'm
now.
going
That's
to
what
read
I'm
an
asking
excerpt
you.
from
Will you
my
commit
public
to
comment
this?
from September
the Americans
2nd.
who are pro-life.
I've watched for the
Nobody's
better part of the
targeting
past
anyone for their
decade as
beliefs.
Is the
residents
FBI
across
still
the
cooking the
political
books on
and
crime
ideological
data?
spectrum beg for
The
city
crime
officials
data
and
is
staff
real.
to center the needs
the
of the
FBI still
people
purging
over
agents for
giant
conservative
corporations who will
viewpoints?
survive with or without
No one at the
handouts from
FBI has
us.
asked their
We've presented
viewpoints on
data,
Is
it's
the
been
FBI
dismissed.
still
We've brought
labeling
forward
the
studies, they've
Betsy
been
Ross
ignored. We've argued
flag,
against
the flag of the
desalination due
American
to the environmental
Revolution, a hate
impact.
symbol?
We are called outside agitators, as if you people cannot see where we live. I am still quite happy to show my birth certificate, if that would help.
Folks to take
We
away
argue
from that
against
day,
desal on the
what
basis that
would
it's
you hope that
financially
they would
reckless,
remember?
the
And
concerns
also,
are disregarded,
Mr. President,
even by alleged fiscal conservatives up here.
And how strong
Some
our
mistakenly
military is. We
believe
have
that
the
you may be
strongest
able to
military
appeal
in
to
the
your
world.
conscience. To
You know, it's very
paraphrase
interesting.
Kwame
3 weeks
Ture, in
ago,
order for that to work,
it was
our
the end
opponents
of
must have a
world
conscience. I will not
anniversary,
humiliate
end of
myself
World
by
War
trying
and to appeal to people who have shown time and again a lack of moral compass, who have shown such disregard for, and at times outright animosity toward the people of Corpus, people who have already endured the worst of the consequences of the heinous decisions made by those who came before you. You can't change those decisions, but those of you with the conscience have the opportunity to course correct. Do not dig your heels in the way so many before you have. We know more now than we did when Estelle was first put on the table. Don't treat public comment as a formality to get through in order to carry out your own will instead of the will of the residents down here opposing DSAP who clearly outnumber those supporting. Say no. That was from September 2nd, and I cannot believe we're here again. So many of you want to paint this as an issue that environmentalists or radicals have whipped people into a frenzy over. I wish any of us had that power in a city and county that very solidly voted for Trump. Like many others here, I am a member of the Corpus Christi Democratic Socialists of America, an organization I am not paid by, but rather paid dues to be a member of. So I will wear those titles proudly, but it is simply a myth that we've created division or can't relate to others with opposing views. I know, as Fred Hampton said, that socialism is the people. If you're scared of socialism, you're scared of yourself. I am not scared of the people down here with different ideas than mine. I am repulsed by people guided up there by moneyed and powerful outside interests that keep us divided and fighting over things that do not actually improve our quality of life or collective well-being, both of which would be irreparably harmed if you knuckle down on this facility. Hillcrest is not a sacrifice zone. Any of this facility has backed up and say no.
Thank you. This is Zamora.
Melissa Zamora, District 2.
An update to a nearby city when you said you wouldn't wish this
so I think it's
on any city management, any council, any team to have to make this decision. So for me sitting here, and I think my colleagues feel the same, I look back into the audience.
You get the city
and honestly,
to get with them right away. But if we look a certain way, if we speak a certain way, we're ignored.
Ironically, but for different reasons, accept that
we
keep up this city.
A social media presence.
An article in 2024 voted to domestic radicalization, violent extremism, and terrorism.
Really bad.
I have it. It's interesting that it's no longer on the website. It has been scrubbed, but I ask these questions because what makes a strong, qualified director of any business, of any household, of the FBI, what makes a reputable prosecutor is not lapdog loyalty, but a commitment to the creed that evidence is agnostic.
Video. In May, Attorney General Bondi reportedly told Trump that his name had indeed appeared multiple times throughout the Epstein files. And not long thereafter, in July, you and the Attorney General released a memo claiming that, quote, no further disclosure would be appropriate or warranted. In a few short months, how did you go from being a crusader for accountability and transparency for the Epstein files to being a part of the conspiracy and cover-up?
An article that explains how an alleged top leader of the MS-13 gang was dismissed. His case was dismissed in Brooklyn so that he could be deported back to El Salvador, even though he was charged with murder.
Why is nobody else making a big deal about that?
Mr. Chairman,
we know all the different types of pollution that have been going into this channel for decades. We had a major explosion in 2020 over there. I know that you mentioned, oh, but desal, it's the magic wand, and we can just desal it all the way. But can we please test that on a micro scale? Like get one of those desalination filters.
And I asked him, how did you learn about the dossier in December of 2016? Mr. Brennan replied, I received a copy of it from the FBI, and the CIA was very much opposed to having any reference or inclusion of the Steele dossier in the intelligence community assessment. That's what John Brennan told the United States Cotton Bowl. 7 weeks ago, the Director of National Intelligence told us this. John Brennan lied and denied using the dossier in the intelligence community.
And so I know that I've heard the curtailment, and the economy and all this, but why aren't we transitioning to industries that don't use as much natural resources? Why can't we invest in those types of things and keep people employed? I appreciate and applaud Councilwoman Sylvia, who has been staying strong and consistent on her stance with all of this. She was elected by the people and served the people, unlike others here that were against desal when they ran, and now they're for it.
I think there's two locations.
An island danger area.
Thank you, Ms. Zamora.
Besides a second-floor launch pad, the construction included facilities for the launch of XM-33 rockets and Nike Hercules missiles.
The location of the building, Charlie Delta Corner, room
The U.S. Army deployed a missile battery to provide launch support for the Nike Hercules missiles, which were scheduled both as nuclear warhead and instrumentation vehicles.
I've lived here my whole life.
On 15 October, high-altitude testing was resumed.
An oxygen valve failed, and for the third time, the range safety officer had to push the destruct button. This time, with the missile still on the pad.
Since then, I have come to appreciate this. I really see it as my own. Maybe in the day and night, little pink flowers that pop out of every patch of grass. They're called pink evening primroses. Birds that visit us, whether they're the ones forming big, undulating black clouds above a parking lot, or the cranes I'll see in my neighborhood every so often. I saw 3 of them this weekend, actually, maybe 4 houses away.
On our flight line.
But I also see it flaring across the water when it's over 80 degrees in November, and I can remember having to bundle up this time of year when I was 15. I feel and smell the pollution so bad that hosts of a history podcast I listened to brought up our city's quote-unquote industrial stench. I see us being in a stage 3 drought for months, while fossil fuel industry, an industry infamous for polluting coastlines and hollowing out towns and workers, the ones who use the majority of our water,
millions of children
don't ever have to
consistently
slow
find
down.
no link between vaccines and autism.
I remember someone here
Throughout my
saying
career,
we want to
I've
avoid
treated
conflict,
countless
and
patients
frankly,
with
you do not speak
vaccine-preventable
for me.
diseases. During
I
COVID,
don't want
I
these
lost
polluters
unvaccinated patients
who aren't
who
even a major
would have
employer
survived with
and whose
vaccination.
pittance of jobs
These
are
realities
dangerous and
coexist.
precarious to have
young
perpetual
David.
Vaccines
cancerous
can
growth
cause
in the city I
rare
finally
adverse
come
events,
to love.
and they do.
From Mango,
I want
And
this killing
it
work to
prevents
slow,
vastly
to
more
stop.
death and
And
disability.
I want us to do what we
Analysis
should
of
have
this
done
data
years
is
ago
providing us with
and turn
an
off
improved
this spigot that
understanding
will
of such
drain us
effects.
dry.
It is also clear at this
My
point in that
partner will be
analysis
visiting me
that
in
there
the summer,
remain gaps in our experimental
and I'm
data
already
which can
ashamed
only be
that I'll have to
closed
be
by
on high
further
alert for
tests.
water boils while he's here.
Analysis
I don't
of
want
this
him to have
data
to
is
worry about
providing us
rationing
with an
water
improved
while
understanding
fire
of
operates
such
at full
effects.
capacity.
It is also clear at this point in that analysis
on the way,
that there
7
remain
minutes,
gaps
we're
in
out
our
there.
experimental
I am a
data which can
co-chair of
only be
Corpus
closed
Christi
by
University.
further tests.
And there's very substantial numbers of nuclear weapons. And I think we should get some credit for that. Yeah, the whole Republican Party should, because that's their mindset. Please.
Sarah Dawson?
And then finally, Mr. Borland.
Yes, ma'am. What?
When you
Thomas
engaged with
Cruz?
Arrow in 2023, you noted that their public statements did not match the reality that you and others
Hit
had
by
witnessed.
missiles again?
And your
How'd you like to live in a building and you think a missile has a good chance of hitting your building during
Staging
the
Officer
evening?
2 from
Command.
Good evening, City Council. My name is Thomas Cruz. I'm a resident of Corpus Christi, District 5, here to discuss the most critical issue facing our community, our water crisis. I appreciate the complex work you all are doing, but we must acknowledge the severity of the situation. This is absolutely an unprecedented emergency. With our reservoirs at historic low levels, the supply of Ashford Dam suggests we're facing an impending devastation. With only 18 months, we can expect approximately 60% of our current available water levels. The time for urgent action is now. I respectfully suggest 3 actions that will buy us the time we desperately need for review. First, immediately implement Level 1 emergency status best management practices for supply management in accordance with the 2025 drought contingency plan. Our current waters must be viewed as an absolute emergency. Our treatment facilities face damage due to sediment from the reservoirs. We cannot support expansion or growth. Not having a solution is acceptable. Continuing to consume water at our current rate without a solution is unacceptable. A significant portion of our water is consumed by industry. If we cannot support our residents, any economic argument is flawed. Industry consumption must be scaled back significantly and measurably. This, if properly executed alone, will buy us more time. Second, we need to initiate an independent third-party community infrastructure maintenance review and a leak reduction plan. Our city loses millions of gallons of water annually to preventable leaks. A robust ongoing program to identify and repair these leaks would yield immediate and lasting returns. Third, if we cannot determine a solution soon, we must consider contracting with consulting groups for advice. There's a concern that the city cannot afford the potential projects. This must not be an obstacle. We must and will find ways to fund these potential projects. None of the projects should be dismissed due to concern for funding. Our cities are a critical economic hub supporting significant state and national energy infrastructure. We cannot allow Corpus Christi to collapse, and neither can the state nor the federal government. We must aggressively pursue every avenue for funding, including requesting state and federal funding and declaring a state of emergency as needed. And revenue to increase taxes and services rates, and ensuring industry supports their financial obligation with equal or greater share. If we cannot agree on a plan to move forward, we must relinquish the duties to the state or federal government. I challenge the council to either curtail industry consumption or finalize a plan within the next 3 months that meet demand levels anticipated into and past the next 18 months. Not everyone will agree with whatever plan is implemented, and that is a cost we must accept. Council, we have the tools, the knowledge, and the obligation to secure a sustainable water future. I urge you to move past deliberation and towards decisive action. Thank you for your service. I appreciate what you all do for us and for considering these recommendations.
Thank you, Mr. Cruz. Brody Newton?
You can call the landline for the position. And only marked as a violent due to disposition, not necessarily for the
my code?
2110-4
Jerry,
and 2150-10-4.
Chloe Torres?
She was rear-ended. She was restrained. No loss of consciousness. She complained of no blood thinners.
Chloe Torres, District 2. So first, just want to say that I'm profoundly disappointed in the vote that happened earlier today, but it does reflect the philosophy that we've all heard City Manager Peter Zanoni espouse, that he's running the city like a business. Right? And so what does running a city like a business mean? We have to think about like how businesses are run under what Dr. Raiza was bringing up, that they're run undemocratically. They have a board of directors who make decisions, and then those decisions are then dictated to the rest of the workers. The workers don't have a say over their hours, their conditions, etc. Right? So how does that translate then to a city? I'm a socialist, and I'm speaking on behalf of the organization that I belong to, the Democratic Socialists of America, because I believe that all aspects of life should be run democratically, and that all resources should be organized in the service of meeting people's needs, first and foremost. I'm a socialist because I think people should be fed, housed, have everything that they need, first and foremost. And I also can't help but notice that because we organize in our community, because we actually take a moment to speak with people, learn about their concerns, and then try to meet their needs, because we know that our states, our governments on all levels don't do that right now because they're too busy servicing demands, not needs. Exxon doesn't need to make $121 billion a year. Right? So people do need to eat. And so the reason why I think the city likes to co-opt our language, talk about a resident-first approach, talk about a people's budget, is because they see our power. They see that we bring more and more people every time. And so what Zanoni now is doing is holding these traveling town halls and forums, which is incredible to me because we couldn't get more than one DSAL town hall when Inner Harbor was first on the table. It's just incredible to me. And but I also want to poke a hole in the fact that this isn't actually democracy. What we've asked for is co-governance. So what you're doing now is you're creating plans, sometimes with industry, in backdoor deals, and then you present the plan to us, and we're supposed to accept it. So I just want to read a definition of co-governance. This is actually what we're striving for. It's a collection of participatory models and practices in which government and communities work together through formal and informal structures to make collective policy decisions, co-create programs to meet needs, and ensure those policies and programs are implemented implemented effectively, equitably, and with a focus on doing no harm and repairing harm to historically marginalized communities. That's what we're striving for. Thank you.
Thank you,
Negative, she wanted to show me just
Carrie
a
Meyer.
regular picture of herself with
Emily
a car,
Parada.
but no driver's license.
Clifford Lincoln, Mary King, 6422.
Will and a white truck with a cab.
Good
evening, council members. I'm here today in regards to the Inner Harbor desalination plant's return to agenda. We've been fighting tooth and nail for the last several months to voice our concerns against this plant, so unfortunately I don't have any ideas to share to the council. I don't know if there's anything else we can say to reach the ears of those in power. I do, however, want to share something that no amount of data or money can ever convey, and that is the love that I have for this city, as corny as that sounds. I've lived in Corpus Christi for the entirety of my life. I've traveled all across the country and have been privileged enough to see some of the greatest cities in America. And Corpus Christi will forever and always be my home. I think back to some of my earliest memories and reminisce when my grandfather would take my cousin and I to play in the water and watch the sunrise. I think of some of my darkest nights last winter, and I remember how Mark Minster brought me out of the house to walk down to Shoreline. I remember walking down to Oleander Park and sitting in front of the water in silence next to the company of my friend. I remember planting my hands against the ground and closing my eyes to listen to the sounds of the waves. I remember company parties ending the night by driving down to Cole Park and sitting in front of water by myself just to stare at what we have. I think back to the people I've met in landlocked states who tell me how lucky we must be to live so close to the water. I think back to when I used to work downtown and how every morning I'd watch the sunrise down Shoreline and how that was always the best part of my day. I think of my friends who work in the art museum and how often they see dolphins outside. These small moments encapsulate only a fraction of what makes this city great. I can't imagine, I can't imagine how different my life would be without having the comfort of our bay only miles away from where I live. Whether or not this resonates with any of the council members before me, I say this to illustrate how decisions like these matter so much more than we realize. These are the lives of very real people who don't deserve to have to compromise their home to the greed of corrupt politicians who at the end of the day have not experienced the same love that we talk about today. The last memory I want to share takes place the day after our last vote against the plant. I remember waking up that morning and having the privilege of visiting the Cathedral Basilica of St. Louis, Missouri. I don't necessarily consider myself to be a religious person, but I truly believe I experienced a spiritual connection that will forever sit with me. I remember asking God the night prior to show if He was truly there. Now, there is most definitely a possibility of me being emotional and overwhelmed by the beauty of the cathedral, but I do remember feeling some sort of calling towards the bowls of water upheld by cherubs of stone. I felt a strong, unexplainable presence that could only be expressed as love and gratitude. I could not stop crying because of how happy I was to sit in front of the water in the same way that I did across the country and the city. Whether or not that means anything to anyone else, that moment will stick with me for the rest of my life. The reason we have so many people here is because we love our home and we are willing to fight for it. At the end of the day, you can't say that you've destruction. I hope that was coherent and that I don't sound insane. Thank you.
252 interventions. Medicare license to be 10.
Carlos Ortiz.
Frank Victor, 7902. Frank
Alberto
Victor, 7902. North. 0053.
All the way to Folsom Parkway. Possibly have some broken hands. I have 3 units now. We have the NCSO jail for that. We have the engine that's checking the park. Be clear by 4. You can move that bird down.
Albert Sartucci, District 3. I'm a veteran-owned business, Hard Life Bait and Tackle. I've got a YouTube channel with over 200K in subscribers and growing. I want to thank all those who listened to us and voted against the Inner Harbor desal plant and stood against all those who tried to levy their weight against you in our city. I am pro-growth, and I want to see everyone raise up with blessed paths for each. And for all the information that is being brought to you, for those of you that continue to sell out our cities. So on that note, hypothetically, I want to ask this council for $1.5 billion to build a new building to possibly hire 500 new workers that could work there only if there's the right weather, no high winds, and nor too much pollen. Then I would like another $1.2 billion in reduced taxes as well. Let's be honest, the amount of money that I'm going to save from the taxes is what's going to pay all my workers. So hypothetically speaking, the city's paying for all the workers workers and for me to conduct business and make money. Oh yeah, and create some jobs at the same time without enhancement to our community. However, now that we are all paying attention to what is actually happening, we are seeing that the crooked under-the-table deals that are being made for big industry put our taxpayer money in dangerous hands rather than putting true city growth, fixing our infrastructure, streets, waters, schools, and libraries. It is important for our taxpayers now and for the future taxpayers who are tuning in to the city council meetings to show up and pay attention to the real information that's being put out there. These desal plants that they are trying to get in our inner harbor are going to destroy inner harbor, our livelihoods directly. This is going to mess with our $1.2 billion, $1.5 billion tourism industry. That's what's paying right now for our communities to continue to grow, and you're going to throw that all away to support industry that is not being a good community partner. Yes, they create jobs, but guess who's paying for it? Taxpayers. Why? Because they got all these discounts off their taxes, off the rates of use of natural resources. We're paying for the workers. They're not paying for them. We are. So at the end of the day, if y'all don't figure that out, y'all really need to start looking at your compass, because voting's coming up and we are all paying attention. And I guarantee you can go back through the years that y'all scapegoated, doing what you wanted, when you wanted, how you wanted, are over. We are paying attention. We are looking at those who are helping us and fighting for our city to stay alive. We are the sparkling city by the sea. Corpitos.
Thank you, Mr. Strategic. Matthew Rankin.
5122 Prairie Mountain Drive. Can you start an ambulance to 4014 Lincoln Circle, altered mental status?
Yeah, back over blue. There is a passenger, they're not sure if it's a female, but right from the door comes and usually drug paraphernalia is on the ground. Actually, 22 just be advised up. Drug paraphernalia. And having nueces counts for failure to appear larceny.
All right. Matthew Rankin, Corpus Christi, also known as APL Matt. Nice to see you guys again. Y'all remember a little thing you had to settle vote on Ortiz versus Mary earlier this year for 150K? I just handed her the beginning. 5 years ago, Corpus without a
we have engine 13 requesting a medic. I'll see you working off of EMS 1 with engine 13 and 448.
Apparently another citizen also attempted and filed a complaint to the AG. So you guys filed a opinion.
And reminded about his
request.
1728.
Very bad idea. Texas DPS website says in 2 places that I can carry into here. Also, the law that applies is 4615 Penal Code. It's called non-applicability. It's what lets cops carry other weapons in here. It's also what lets me carry a weapon in here. It's also what lets a lot of other people carry a weapon in here, if they also have a carry license. Those people include judges, district attorneys, city attorneys, and the Attorney General. So you just asked Ken Baxter to rule against himself that he's not allowed to carry into this meeting or into a courthouse. I don't think that's going to turn out well for you. So, to clear the rules, to get all of the rights all over again. You guys know, you've been informed. I don't know if your city attorney is just that bad. We can use your first names. We can address you individually. We can be loud and boisterous. Most of the rules I have applied to the audience are legal. Applied to the speaker are not legal. They just aren't. So we can use whatever language we want, as long as it's not fighting words or violates the law on its own. And as I told you before, saying bad words was ruled on 60 years ago. And not just for you can say the bad words, also that you can't be charged with a crime for saying them. So,
Robert phone Mary 4443 ever
I've still got 48 seconds.
Sorry, I need you to leave the council chambers.
Okay, you sure?
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, sir. Oh, great. Looking forward to it. Amanda Breeden.
Delta 250 clear.
No, sorry.
Everything was fine. They don't need anything out there. Engine 1, go ahead.
Janet Newcomb.
50% will need to dump as well. So we'll meet you in the yard where Tristan does.
David Lowe, Autumn Hensick.
9. Put it under my
Autumn Hensick.
Engine 3, did y'all want to talk to Engine 3? I just want to advise, I do have a call there for a dog that has its head stuck in a oil pan and motor.
Hello, Autumn Hensick, District 2. I don't have anything prepared. I am just getting back from out of town. A town where you can drink water from the tap without dry heaving from the smell of eggs, but I digress. I don't have a lot to add to everything that was discussed throughout public comment and comment on agenda item 18 today. A lot of folks, talked about, okay, it's so much better because we're doing this far field study, or, oh, we're going to have a lower cost, but we're still skirting around the issue of Hillcrest. And so, I don't know, I'll keep it really short, but it just I would invite all of you to maybe ask what your own role is in this next chapter of mistreatment, abuse, and attempts at erasing the people of Hillcrest. So yeah, maybe ask yourself when you're going to bed what your role is in that, and how that energy could be better suited to living more of a servant-hearted life. So I'll remind you, you're in a position to serve the public good. I know more of you than not are religious in some way. So again, I'd ask you to reflect on that and reflect on how the decisions that you make at the dais either contribute to or take away from living a life of Christ consciousness. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Henson. Richard Shelton. Amanda Breland.
Charlie 310, Charlie 330 for unknown 405 Ashland. Note that he needed the police, gave the address, and then disconnected the line on so I'll call back. And also having discomfort in the chest, history of heart attack, and then just history. And the silver Malibu vehicle's not running. The call taker is calling level up now. Charlie 2.
Actually, it probably will sound all over the place because I wrote it while I was sitting here. But I noticed a lot of people came up here and thank the mayor, thank the city manager for bringing this back on the agenda. I'm not going to do that. I want to say shame on y'all. Honestly, this whole thing is undemocratic, ridiculous. It's a joke. And despite the fact that y'all already voted, I'm still going to express my opposition to bringing this desalination project back. Y'all frame this as the main solution, but what else are y'all doing to negate water waste? Y'all clearly lack the ability to creatively think about solutions to this so-called water crisis. If y'all were serious about this, then y'all would be coming up with more than just $1 billion desalination facility that is going to ruin Hillcrest and our environment. Why not invest in solid, long-term solutions that will not only reduce water waste, but benefit the working class of this area? Invest in reliable and efficient public transportation. Less vehicles on the road equals less pollution and water use, less road construction, less stormwater pollution, more sustainable land use. Invest in improving our green spaces. More native trees and plants equals less runoff and promotes the natural water cycle. The city deserves leaders who are willing to think bigger and more creatively when it comes to solving the issues plaguing this community. We deserve leaders who make residents a priority and who are willing to work with us, not against us. Too many of you on this council are so busy stroking and gargling the balls of industry to take a look around and realize how your decisions negatively impact the majority of the working class in this area.
For the reason it should be there.
And Arturo Lima, John McCain, and Daniel Kennedy.
He's batting at 100%, heart rate 106, a DGL of 100,
Jake Hernandez, Corpus Christi, City Council District 2. I am here to speak about the issue of water management. I believe that the city has continuously fallen short in their attempts to work with members of the public on the issue of water management. For the Inner Harbor desal project, residents of the Hillcrest neighborhood have been demanding that the city find a different location and not build the desalination plant in their neighborhood. This has been happening for about a decade now. And residents in San Francisco County have also been pleading with the city to not go forward with the Evangeline River water project, groundwater project. And those concerns have just fallen on indifferent years. And for the joint contingency plan, which was also brought up earlier this year, the concerns that were reflected in the changes made to the drought contingency plan primarily reflected the concerns that were being raised by small business owners. So why do I bring up these examples to you? I bring them up because there is a history. There's a pattern here multiple times of residents coming forward with their concerns on an issue. And those concerns are just genuinely not being listened to. Not here at public comments, not during the public input sessions that you've held, either on the drought contingency plan or on desalination before, or during the budget meetings. These concerns keep getting raised and then being completely ignored. And I'm at a place where I'm trying to figure out exactly if we can't make an appeal to you, like on the issue of desalination, on a logical level, because we feel that it is illogical to continue worsening the conditions that are enabling climate change. And we can't appeal to you on an emotional level because you simply don't seem to care about the residents in Hillcrest. And if you do, I haven't heard you say anything about it. So the reason that I'm here as one of the co-chairs for the Corpus Christi chapter for the Democratic Socialists of America is because I, as a socialist, believe that there needs to be more democracy between our city government and between the residents and the workers that live here in the Coastal Bend. There simply has just not been any way for us to appeal to on any level on any issue. So I think that you're no longer fit to continue governing us. You now have to make an attempt to govern with us. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
West helping a gentleman with his flat tire.
Hello, Arturo Lima, District 4. I just keep coming back because very passionate people really care about this community, and I feel that, this desalination plant in the short term would probably not affect me. However, I know that it would affect the residents of Hillcrest, which is something that you already don't talk about and get to read. Here we are again talking about the Inner Harbor desalination plant after the community and this council already expressed that we do not want this in our city. I think it is important to reiterate that even though the cost of this plant is one huge reason why this project is a bad idea, it is not the only reason why we are fighting to stop this. The last time this project was voted against, we learned that the cost of the desal plant had ballooned to over $1 billion. Since then, the water director, Drew Molly, resigned and left town. If that is how this being managed, I don't know what is. But like I said, the cost is not the only reason why the community opposes this desalination experiment. This proposed Inner Harbor desalination plant would destroy the historically black neighborhood of Hillcrest. That is something that we don't talk about enough. The residents of Hillcrest already experience cancer and respiratory problems at a much higher rate than the rest of Corpus Christi. Hillcrest is also surrounded by industry, the same type of industry that you seek to entice with the water we hope to produce with the construction of the Inner Harbor. Less and less people are buying the lie that we need this desal plant because we are are running out of water. The population of Corpus Christi has not grown and is not expected to grow significantly in the coming years. We have enough water for the people. What we don't have enough water for is the petrochemical industries that you are trying to bring to Corpus Christi. That is why you need the Inner Harbor desal plant. But by building the desal plant, you will be destroying Hillcrest, you will be destroying the bay, you will be destroying the tourism industry, you will be hurting commercial and recreational fishing. You will also be destroying the future of Corpus Christi because no one wants to move to or raise children in a city surrounded by industrial smokestacks.
Thank you, Mr. Lima. John McCain? Daniel Pena?
Get an individual, please.
10 I arrived. Copy John George Frank 5217.
Send the meters S. No damages. No piling cars. Water reading is 259926.
CCPD, any other? Colorado Fire Department, Ansel 8. 7 East Pecan. 47 East Pecan Street.
Code blue. Code blue. Code blue.
As to rules of decorum, I've looked up the rules for Corpus. It says that I have to ask Madam Chair if I have a little bit of extended time to go over a couple of these pages just to do the presentation, to be able to finish, because I've tried to get it within 3 minutes, but I'm a little over, so. And it says to ask you. It says to ask you 10 seconds before I'm done. It's ask you now before.
This is Mr. Daniel Pena here. Right. How long is your presentation? Bless
it's about 3 minutes and 45 seconds. It's like 45 seconds. I'm trying. I try as best. I just don't speak as fast as some of these guys over here. So.
Why is he at 2:30?
The resident there at 619 on was inside.
Oh, no, I mean, start it. We'll start this presentation, yeah. Let's try to get to the minutes.
Go ahead. I'm Daniel Pena. I'm from District 1, Long Live Hillcrest. I'm here on the city ordinance again. The fire marshal is still. It takes 3 of you guys to put it on the agenda. City ordinance 032-969-23-007. The first page I brought in my packet is the memo that was given to the city manager from the fire department regarding the accusations that I did, that I accused them of for the new city ordinance. I highlighted, I did this one in colors, so you see the highlighted same things that I'm pointing out in my presentation. 2020 International Fire Code, that I actually been in there and they done.
This question is a part. Any advice?
I'm going to be introducing the gas industry, which is the propane. Again, he's quotes from 2021 IFC, and I'll explain that to you in just a second. The industry, the Railroad Commission, the industry is regulated by the Railroad Commission. Rules require installation, which I'm going to here in just a second. And the last paragraph, it says section 319.5, the 2021 IFC addresses the use of propane in the mobile food trailer. I'm not discussing the use of the propane in the food trailer, I'm discussing installation, which is the connectors and the hoses, and things required to do during installation. It's all installation, reinstall, and that's part of that.
I delivered into a very large dog to Demonstrating Doberman, walking towards mile number 79. They were off the leash and trying to attack the reporting party. White female blue dressed with a straw hat.
That the Railroad Commission uses, NFPA 58, 54, 1192, and NFPA 101, which is actually the fire code. NFPA, that's the book. He keeps quoting for the International Fire Code. The state of Texas is not even ready to have I also on the next page included email from the Railroad Commission in regards to the make these changes. He is the manager in field.
I'm just in this record area of Northwest Atlanta. And I got like 23 license claiming the potential Mary
to the city
4950. It's floating all the way right on the down. Watching the next slide, question number 8.
Next page,
Oh, I'm trying to you can type
I
it.
go into our second note, which is our industry. I provided the levels of industry from transportation to transportation and storage to distribution and usage. We are part of the usage part of the industry, and so we are part of that industry that he says we're not a part of. No matter if we're on the top of that totem pole or to the bottom, we are still part of that industry.
So, Mr. Pena, I'm going to invite you to, I know you have spoken, but I think I thought you had. Okay, well, with staff, because this is operational, and we appreciate you bringing it forth, we do. But I think this is something that staff can take from here to have a conversation with you about to see, what can get taken care of, fixed, or, adjusted for you.
Who would I speak to?
Well, thank you for being here. Margaret, you done?
On New Jersey Street.
Margaret Peggy Duran here of Corpus Christi District. And I just have a comment to make tonight. I've been looking at my tax bill.
Go ahead with the 28.
$500 for our home that we've been in for the last 4 years. Today it's $1,700. Most people don't come here complaining about lower tax bills. We've seen our library hours open. We've seen our garbage brush pickup cut from 4 times a day to 2 times a day. We've, I'm concerned about the economic decisions, and I can't help but wonder if and make you all irrelevant. I really believe that we need to consider stopping this process taxes because we need clean water, we need good roads, we want good education for our children. My husband's from Spain. He had a problem there health-wise. He was in the hospital for a week, had 2 procedures done. It cost us $3,500. It would have cost $200,000 in this country. We need Medicare for all. We don't have enough faith in our officials at this point. We need to get that back. I know you have been dumped on all day today. I really admire you for having a public comment period. Thank you. But I think we need to consider the kinds of industries that we have that are doing more harm than good. We're hearing about these AI and crypto centers that use more water and electricity and are raising the prices for the public. We need to really consider the tax abatements that we've been giving. Business, it's time for them to carry their fair share. And I mean, 20 years ago, I sold my Exxon stock, my son's college education, because they were hiring, those fake scientists who were denying climate change. We've got a lot of trust to rebuild and a lot of things to look at, and I don't envy your jobs at all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Wanda. Jennifer Garcia? Andrea Pujol? Andrea, were you going to speak on something separate than the case element?
Either like a walkway, wheelchair type of thing, and backwards in the roadway, Nelson and commercial in our class.
So I wanted to talk about resource management and democratic control over our resources, like water. I find it really concerning that earlier in the meeting, some of y'all were praising the city manager for managing resources like a business. Someone even said, it's reminding me of a CEO. I find that so weird and really dumb. because our city is not a business. Our city is our home. And there's been a lot of talk about industry and we can't survive without them. They give back to the community. We get scholarships from them. They sponsor our Earth Day, Gay Day. They care about us. No, they do not. They don't give back to us, and the little that they do, it's literally just to make themselves look good. So yeah, they don't care about our community at all, and in fact, they would probably love it if we all dropped dead, so that tomorrow they could just come and do whatever they want.
Now, give me the call Hancock call.
Yeah,
333 Indiana.
I want to quote because Chloe shared this earlier, and it really resonated with me. So, it's a quote by Frederick Engels. The English bourgeoisie is charitable out of self-interest. It gives nothing outright, but regards its gifts as a business matter. Makes makes a bargain with war, saying excuse me, and you are bound thereby to stay in your dusky holes and not to irritate my tender nerves. That quote reminded me exactly of what's happening right now. Of like, yes, they do give back to us. So we should give them y'all can say no, and we can build a better city for all of us, including y'all. As much as I don't want to say it, but like, yeah, we can build a better city for everyone up here and everyone back here, and not the people that are technically out of our city limits. So yeah, again, start treating the city and people our resources as a business, and stop giving industry whatever they want. Stop praising them as if they were heaven sent. I think residents are going to let this
Mary Edward Mora, David Ocean, Charles Ida Mora Ocean, over there in Airline and Vineyard area.
Somebody clear from the 914 23rd Street call.
Julian Hernandez.
I'll be clear. Can you go please, for Brookdale on Meadow Vista?
Be QOL, North City.
Disturbance, disturbance to occur.
6110. Can you show me clear?
Hernandez, Corpus Christi. There's two things that I... First, I'm a resident of Molina area. I hear they came out with a very good documentary of Molina. I haven't had a chance to see it, but I lived there all my life. I'm a part of that. And I say that with ninth grade education. I would have got a good enough degree, GED. And then I went out and I guess made something of myself. I've come here before when all the taxes were being raised out of consideration for my daughters. I know somebody remembered that at one time. And it's for them that I come out here. You know, because with the ninth grade education, I was able to do what I needed to do and able to provide and pay those bills for my kids. We needed, of course, you got to push them out there. But
starting at 97%, her BGL was 126. We're currently trying to get a blood pressure.
So I'm fortunate enough, I was one of those cagapalos, for those that aren't Hispanic. I was one of those trouble kids, like I said, ninth grade. I think I failed like third grade. Like, who fails third grade? Anyway, but there's no Hillcrest left. The city took it. We gave them a park. It's a slap in the face. They will never have the opportunity to create a documentary. Never. I go over there today, and there's nothing there. Maybe those two people that came today. Those two people, and you gave them a park. And now you want to build a plant next to it. Y'all set the table I was part of big industry. The first thing you do is you set the table blindly so everybody can sit down.
and then you feed them the poison. And that's what we did to them. Because I've been part of those industries, and that was the terminology there. Set the table early, so they can eat from it later and not know it. I worked out of town for 22 years doing utilities. And every time I came back into town, we're still working on 5 miles of SPI. And we're still working on it today, 20 years. And it just came to fruition why the city took it. Why the city took Hillcrest. Why? Ask yourself. For that desal plant. I'm not against desal, I'm against the location of it.
Thank you, Mr. Nuez. Laramie Fain.
Hello, what up, Council? Laramie, Corpus Christi, Texas. I heard something interesting on the way in.
Can you state your name and city?
I definitely did that. There's an older gentleman and a woman who I'm assuming is a city employee, but he was saying that we have to have people from the port here, and that has to be the loudest voice in the room. The employee's response was that the mayor sent special invitations to certain chief of staff and port commissioners, but none of them showed up, which is gotta hurt. But I do wonder why there's any interest in collaborating with people with connections. Because community members don't get special invitations. And I get really sick at heart watching the best and brightest people that I know come up here every week and speak their heart and their truth to you, and I can just see it go in one ear and out the other. Because like, public comment is all that we have to interface with you, and you don't even have the decency to pretend you're on your phones. You are glancing at the timer to see how much time is left. You're yawning. You're concealing a smirk. There's no interest in co-governing, wherein the residents that are most impacted by policy have a direct say in how that policy is shaped and implemented, which makes a lot of sense, right? You say that, it just makes sense, right?
Website gate open.
But it's port commissioners and industry partners that get meetings and invitations, and the rest of us get left out of the equation. There is no trust here, and there certainly isn't any respect.
Thank you, Mr. Lane. Robin Cox.
Hi, Robin Cox, District 3. And what I came to talk to you about today is I know we always talk about decorum and being polite and being nice, and I've seen people called out here for being loud, for being arrested, for maybe some foul language. I try to never use foul language. Carolyn will make me put money in a swear jar if I do that. My dad would make me wash my mouth out with soap. But I sat in the back, and because someone is a wife of someone important, and she's one of y'all's besties, and I don't care if y'all paint each other's nails, go have drinks, and I'm going to call her name out, and I may be get in trouble for this, but if Michelle Brazelton is allowed to sit back there and wish Eric Cantu would kill himself, I suggest, and I heard 5 people say it, not just one, we have witnesses, 5 people, one of them was Eli McKay, her, Rachel Caballero, and she got up and left right afterwards. You either need to speak to your friend, she needs to ask not to come back, her husband needs to know. That is uncalled for. I have difference of opinion of many of y'all. I would never say that I wished one of you would hang yourselves. I have been on the campaign trail and had one of you point your finger at me, treat me horribly, another one's wife come and say something to me. I'm not going to mention whose wife it was. He's not here, but she never gave me an apology. And I have never, ever acted that way, so it can't be rules for thee and not for me. So that was uncalled for, and that was appalling, and I think every one of us. Another thing, when you're called up, let's show some respect. Mr. Klein is not Mr. Klein, he's Dr. Klein. He worked very hard. Dr. Arazia is not Isabel, she's Dr. Arazia. She worked hard. I may not have the same political beliefs as a lot of them. Matter of fact, I've stated I'm a staunch Republican, campaigned for Trump, hard and heavy, but I have found more in common with these people than I have against. And I think when we find out, we all just want what's best for this city. I would never treat any of these people horribly, and they have never treated me with anything but utmost respect. When I'm talking, I used to teach theater at one point for a short time. Look at people when they're talking. It's rude when you're looking down. Even if you don't care what they're saying, look at them. My dad used to say that Jackie Kennedy had the fine art of making you feel like you were the most important person in the room. We all deserve that respect when we're up here. Like I said, we know we're all on the campaign trail. But instead of going to ribbon cuttings and parties, why don't you stand here, you're here every day, right here in front of City Hall, and see why we've got people who can't pay their water bill. They can't pay their water bill and their light bill. And they're people, they're not people on welfare, they're people who both work two-income jobs. And their water bills are so high, they're always on the verge, and you're laughing. That smirk on your face is horrible.
And I would much rather not get that tax revenue than to put a bar beside a church. And I guarantee you that church has been spraying those bars out of there. And so I'm not going to be one that's going to vote to put one in. Thank you.
Aaron Haas. And as Officer Lewis was mentioning, we have fought hard for our church. We have fought hard to build the building so that we can be there. As a member who cares for our community, who cares for our city, who cares for our children and our future, I feel like it is in our best interest to protect a small congregation, to protect people that are trying to make a better life for themselves. As Officer Lewis mentioned, he donates his time.
We're at the point where desalination
I think there's so much potential there. When I first moved
with many of the other folks here, where
I lived in the Donna Park neighborhood, and the first day that I was here, my dad said, hop in the truck, I'll take you and show you your new city. He took me down from navigation to leopard, and from leopard down to the seawall.
A number of things that
and so my first view and vision of Corpus Christi was leopard.
A lot of the reason people move to these areas is because of the condition of the water. One of the projects that we're working on involving the Whitecap development, Lake Padre, we have discovered that unless you're looking at a completely comprehensive map of the water systems, you really don't know because they are so connected. Each piece that we change impacts them all. And I think
And I think the Texas Water Development Board, I think their challenge is that to us so that we can provide for them, and I think we need to do it today, provide for them that we have certainty that we're open-minded to looking for a project that's going to provide
the Heart Institute
water certainty and the wherewithal to invest in our long-term
with the continued drought. Further
water infrastructure.
Increase in salinity as water does not inflow into
And when you do that, it allows a more regional approach and a regional look, and also allows for funding ability, and also it allows the city to appoint the board members that would run that Coastal Bend Water Agency, and as well as the other partners that would be a part of that agency. So there is a strategic look ahead. If
on the less great Salt Lake due to the brine output increasing the salinity to a point where no life is sustainable.
Terrible for a city that thrives and hustles on tourism.
Thank you, Mr. Hinchman.
What's really important to know is that businesses and outdoorsmen like myself, we're not against desal. We're against dumping it in the base.
First of all, I also just want
to
say it's so
important so many of my friends and everything destroyed. Someone else up here said today that industry is not the only place.
So if we can't get the first step right, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step.
And then
if you want to take your first step in the wrong direction,
y'all are filled with so much
and their families depend on them and their jobs.
From what they just said,
The
and that
Coastal
comes out
Bend
Canton region needs a reliable water supply for both residential and industrial use. This has become even more critical during these prolonged drought conditions. We all benefit from the integrated desalination project, so thank you for your leadership and putting a plan forward that will help secure the long-term water source that this community needs.
I wanted to talk about
Thank you for your time and
new water resources
Thank you.
we have going on.
And I'm sitting here listening to a lot of the comments already, and says he likes water in his yard, washing his truck. Well, I like all those things too, but not at the cost of the environment.
Affluent reuse projects is 16
And this may be, we may need water right now, and I agree, and no one has said this better though, and I'm going to quote a friend of mine who came over here today, and Mel read Michael Miller's post. He put, it is not scalable and does not meet the needs of our future growth. Seawater desal has never been attempted.
Also, one of the things that was very clear to me was that this is a very environmentally friendly project. It's not going to do harm to the bay and estuaries, and it's something, I know that there's a lot of concern about that, but that just doesn't seem, the facts don't show that. And the fact is that it was approved by the TCEQ and other agencies, and I think what you're going to find with the Farfield study as well, that the facts will support that it is a good project.
Yeah, I think I said growth for the sake of growth is the ideology of a cancer cell.
It's broken.
Let's be clear and name
I
the real
don't
problems.
understand how something
Racial
can go
capitalism
away
and
and
fossil
then
fuel
come back
imperialism
to
drives the
somebody
crisis we are
else.
in.
Not
This
us.
is clear.
Not the
Y'all
people.
on the dais are
We're
pushing
not
for an
gonna get any
environmentally
water from
racist,
this
privately
stuff.
owned project in the
Has anybody
predominantly
been
and historically
informed
black neighborhood of
that the water
Hillcrest.
is shit
And
water?
the city
It's something
is
they
working
don't
with
know.
Israeli officials to push for desalination.
Expand on what y'all think about as the economy of Corpus Christi.
Grow mindset.
You know, this industry, the industry is not going to last forever. Corpus Christi could
I wanted
last
to read this quick
quite
excerpt
a
from
bit
the
longer
Declaration of
than
Eco-Socialist
y'all
International Network
realize,
before
but
COP20.
the city
We urgently
needs to
need
really
to
build
unmask
upon
all of
its
the
other
abstract
strengths.
answers which attempt to blame all of
Besides the
humanity.
idea
These
that
abstract
we are a
answers
port
disconnect
city,
the current
the longer you
situation
keep
from the
using
historical
and
dynamics
using
which have
using
emerged
without
from
any
fossil
restriction.
fuel-based industrialization, which
Out
causes
of
global
line.
warming, and the logic of capitalism, which is sustained by the private appropriation of wealth and the conquest of
council members
profit.
alike
Profit at the cost of social
caught with their hands in a cookie
exploitation
jar.
and ecological devastation. These
there's
are
been
two
council members
faces of the same
giving
system, which is
contracts
the
to
culprit of climate
their own
catastrophe.
businesses. They don't recruit yourself ever.
Oh, damn it. Okay.
And the obligation to secure
you,
a
Ms.
sustainable
Peacock.
water
Manuel
future.
Lujan?
I urge you to move past deliberation and towards
Jackie
decisive action.
Lewis?
Thank you for your service. I truly appreciate what y'all do for us and for considering these recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cruz. Brody Newton?
Please change it to a verbal and give me the full phone number.
Hello,
and for all the information that is being brought to you
citizens of
for
Corpus
those of
Christi,
you that continue
City
to
Council
sell out our
members,
cities.
Mayor Guajardo, you are in that
So on
seat
that
tonight
note,
because we the
hypothetically,
people
I want to ask this
rejected
council for
the guy back by
$1.5
Abbott,
billion
but it appears
to
as if
build a
we have
new
wound up
building
getting the
to
Abbott
possibly
guy after
hire
all.
500 new workers that could work there only
Abbott
if
is
there's the
barking
right
orders from his
weather,
high horse in Austin,
no high
telling
winds,
you all how
and
you
nor
should
too
spend
much
our
pollen.
money.
Then
Because
I would
that's
like
what's really
another
at stake tonight.
$1.2 billion in reduced
Sweet
taxes
Emerald
as well.
cash.
Let's be
Councilwoman Vaughn
honest.
told us so back in September. She said that Abbott is threatening to withhold state funding if y'all don't vote for the desal plant in the Inner Harbor, which y'all already know the litany of issues that will cause for the environment,
Thank you, sir.
so on and so forth. But
Okay, Ms. Weston.
Abbott feels like he can do this due to the Trump administration
Okay,
ordering him to racially gerrymander the state for future elections. So much trash. Y'all see the news today. I'm afraid that the reason behind your apathy, Mayor Guajardo, is because this deal has been settled behind your backs, that we want you to choice, that this is all just a dog and the pony show, and you get to sit there and glare.
Time is up.
Smirk
And I understand
and
Mr. Munster's back online. Mr. Munster, are you online?
in Hillcrest will
Okay.
irrevocably change the city that we love.
Yes, we can hear you. Go
And
ahead.
I was under the impression that that's what was decided the last time we spoke about this. It is crystal clear that City Council is compromised. I was never under the impression that desaling Corpus was dead for good, but just that the proposed plant in Hillcrest was, and that another site would be found as a replacement. Oil and gas has a chokehold on the city. A desal plant will not be constructed by end of year 2030. It just won't. It took us 8 years to build a bridge. And how long has Everhart been under construction? My council member, Eric Cantu, has been working to attract Hollywood to our beautiful vistas. They won't even want to visit if the only perceptible thing is the chokehold that oil and gas have over the city's atmosphere, literally and figuratively. And what will all of that capital mean when there aren't any Gulf shrimp to eat? What good are higher prices for low-quality seafood? Or watching our grandmas wither away from cancer caused by the forever chemicals that are still in the inner harbor to this day. And only more will be created and pumped into our estuaries and soil and air. I lost my train of thought. Let's see. Baffin Bay's already been losing fisher folk for years, but I guess that's Claiborne County's problem, right? The onslaught of environmental chaos will not stop at the county line. So goes the Gulf, so goes America, and so goes the world. Did you know that the Earth's tilt has shifted 3.5 inches, or 31.5 inches over the course of 2 years? And that's just due to excessive groundwater pumping. You can bing it. That's true. Yeah, what we do here affects the world whether we realize it or not. Think about that.
Thank you. Leo Dahlbeck. Okay, Ms. Huerta, do we have anyone? Oh, I'm sorry, Leo.
Route 23, stand by. 10-4. This is Unit 2. 10-4. 206. 10-4.5. 10-44. Second that first half. Land second half. This is from Rating 91. Can you show us available on there? 10-4. Current all dollar sales. 144 over 80. 4.82. 100%. Text 270.
Please don't make fun of my picture. It's
700 Ocean, 81542 David Victor. 81542 David Victor, 27 Ocean. 8012.
One of the copies is an email that I sent to all the council members earlier before the September vote.
784.
The other one is a picture of
1517 Mallard Drive.
pipeline.
You started your comments, sir? You said your name and city.
It's time for them to carry their fair share, and
So you didn't say your name and city.
20 years ago,
I'm
I
sorry.
sold my Exxon stock.
You pass it out? Okay.
Extra resources over here. Have that 15 advised that they're going to need additional manpower. X-ray, boy Tom 9666.
Okay, yes. First and foremost, I admit that water will be more expensive. Okay, the other trip is I think that in keeping with another...
Can you state your name and city now, please? State your name and city, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. Leo Dahlbeck. I live at 8100 South PID, lot number 363. Thank you. Okay, so the trip is get more expensive. We're going to have to do something. I agree with the city manager on getting a quorum of a bunch of the contractors together for some sort of estimate on moving forward. But the deal is I'm pro-desal, but absolutely adamantly opposed to discharge in the inner harbor. And that's why we need to make a pipeline from Hillcrest all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. And then if you will see, there's going to be a bunch of inlets to the just like an oil gathering system, which that's my background is done. And this will reduce the cost of future desal plants.
And I would much rather not get that tax.
And the first day that I was here, my dad said, hop in the truck, I'll take you and show you your new city. He took me down from Navigation to Leopard, and from Leopard down to the seawall. And so
So my first view and vision of Corpus Christi was
a lot of the reason people move to these areas is because of the condition of the water. You know, one of the projects that we're working on.
You've been elected to make a decision. Y'all are reversing what the council decided.
And that's a copy of an email that I sent out earlier.
Okay, Ms. Wilson.
Okay, Mayor. Online, we have Larry Cashin.
Individual, please.
I live in District 4. I care very much about our Corpus Christi, and I continue to pray for it.
This is a city vehicle, accident 4709. For the record, was not involved. Pin of black Cadillac hit a gas department truck at the location. The trailer went 10 miles out and said comment from the
and without, you know, doubling or more than doubling everybody's utility bill.
Our city's future identity and decision making. As well, I beseech you to continue using sound reason and science in decision making. Do not relinquish to the vices of industry, greed, or
the Inner Harbor desalination plant. I don't get that. I don't receive that because they know
service to the people and our infrastructure, as you know, is priority. I believe we should move to stage 4 water conservation now. The desal does go forward. Attempt please to collaborate with and other neighboring counties on the development and construction and use.
Due to a motor vehicle collision, he was wearing a helmet. Vehicle was going at approximately 20 miles an hour.
Or on our Padre Island.
Give me a call back at 512-598-1551.
So the intake and discharge waters
Richard
will be from and go back to the deep flowing currents of the Gulf of Mexico. Please
go ahead and
do not build it
get
where an established neighborhood will be negatively affected.
Give me a call back at
and the residents then affected.
1551. This is Richard.
Please do not build it where our will be impacted. As well, please consider using ocean wave and solar energy to power this. To each of you and in collection, thank you for your time. Your diligence, your continued collaborative leadership, public service. Please respect our earth, our unique decisions.
And submit that for approval. Give me a call back at 512-598-1551. This is Richard with the Better Business Bureau, Heart of Texas, Branch 512. Hello, this message is for Affordable Info Line. This is Richard Naranjo calling from the Better Business Bureau. I was reaching out because we have a current hold on your, looks like, hello, this message
Mr.
is
Perkins,
for Affordable
you
Info
spoke
Line.
on item number 18 previously.
I was
Were you
reaching
going
out
to speak on
because we
something
have
else?
a
55 Iran 63739. It came back from no record. I copy that.
What?
Are you going to speak on another subject?
101 to all units, please make sure that we're not parking by the trash cans because it really is.
Okay, drop contingency.
Residents are stuck at level 3. We're hearing having to get into deeper into drought situations and pay part of its own process. Run around this drought situation. I feel like the council really should put I understand this might impact this may impact their workforce, but these are companies that are worth billions of dollars a year. CEOs could come up with a better plan. They could come up with contingency plans of their own for their employees.
I was reaching out because we have a
by putting that
hold on
pressure on us. It kind of just puts us in an unfair position as residents of Corpus Christi.
Hold on your.
We're not making money off of the water.
I was reaching out because we have a current.
To bathe, to eat, to cook, to drink. Not that we can drink our water with the amount of different things that are in it, and the amount of stuff that gets stuck into it due to the work that the industry has done in our local water ecosystems. But I feel like the city should really, the city council, the mayor and the management, the city manager should really quickly put a limit cap on what these industries are allowed to use, because it is only going to be more exacerbated, especially as we are scrambling for water sources currently.
Thank you, Mr. Perkins.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have Mark Lundstrom. Mr. Munster? Okay. Don't hear him. I'm going to go ahead and move to Sandra Sanchez.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, my name is Sandra Sanchez. I'm with Indigenous People of the Coastal Bend. I am from so-called Corpus Christi,
and between the residents and the workers that live here in the Coastal Bend. There simply has just not been any way for us to appeal to on any level, on any issue. So I think that you're no longer fit to continuing governing us. You now have to make
as a city employee, but he was saying that we have to have people from the port here, and that's
industry for generations, air pollution, port expansion, highway displacement,
It has been a green tag in the past, and they're just concerned due to the fires from yesterday night.
So when I hear that this is just a model, I hear something different. This is a continuation. Continuation has consequences. Once a project moves forward, even with a study, it becomes a part of public record. I'm not here to repeat everything you have already shown. You've heard them from scientists, from residents, from fishing families, environmental professionals, and Hillcrest themselves. So let me say this instead. You cannot say you did not know. You cannot say Hillcrest did not mention.
And we aim to achieve them while respecting our city council, which has been in place for 30 years. Council policy. Public comment serves as one avenue for communication, but it's certainly not the sole method. You may also reach out to members of this council by phone, email, or even by scheduling an in-person appointment. I also want to take a moment to read.
Senior primary care, and the decisions made against the water always return to those who make them. In time, those who have caused destruction, they will be held accountable. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sanchez. Next is Brittany Young.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. My name is Brittany Young, Corpus Christi, Texas, District 3. Just first, straight out of the gate, I'm going to ask you to vote against stop pursuing the Inner Harbor desal plant. Like, I'm really confused on why we're here. Again, I think the public have made their stand on where they are. They have reached out to you, they have made public comments, not just over the past few months, but over the past several years. The people I'm watching right now from my virtual space are there speaking out against the Inner Harbor desal plant, again, because they care. When I heard Governor Abbott come up and was basically threatening the city of Corpus Christi about the need to pursue the desal plant, Governor Abbott, who is anti-big government, needs to stay out of our business. Then, after Governor Abbott, I hear saying the city that we're going to bring desal back onto the agenda. It's like a snake growing its head again. It gave me whiplash.
And also, Ignition Point Corpus Christi, talking about resource management and industrial expansion broadly. I wanted to talk about some new water resources we have going on. Evangeline, we have 24 MGD. Harbor Island is 2.7 MGD.
We've talked about the environmental issues. We've talked about, the public, the historical racism against the helpers community, which you don't care about. You care about giving them a park. It's like a slap in the face. We've talked about so many issues of PFAS. I've already heard it again there in the dais. Nothing we say is getting through to you. I think it's completely disrespectful for you to sit there. We voted you into those seats. We can take you out of those seats again. So please do remember that as we go in, as the next election comes. You already know, and it's already been said, residents do not consume all of our
provided by CCW in July and August 2025. Corpus Christi residents are only using 12.5% of treated water. Commercial institutions like hotels and hospitals only use 13%, while industry uses close to 75% of the treated water in our city. They are pushing this desalination plant and saying it's the solution when the permit for the project says in black and white that this water is not.
The city manager, wherever he is, we need people there who are creative about the economy and the future of our city that actually centers people and does not center the industries. I don't want Corpus. I may not always be there in Corpus. I do have residents in Corpus, but we do not need Corpus to end up like other cities that have been sucked dry by these industries. The people have been polluted and treated with
contractor that does a lot of construction across the world for this particular tranche of funding. And so he's engaged. He gave feedback to the most recent letter that was sent in terms of the terminology that was used in the letter sent to Brian McMahon. And so he's ready and willing to help and be involved as a consultant on the team. So he's not a lobbyist. So he wouldn't be lobbying.
No, it would be a consultant, which is what we talked about. A lot of people are bringing.
And once we do that, then we can come back and give you our best estimate on it.
So,
not listening to residents, not listening to concerns, that lets you spend years on the project. Never been built. Councilman Vaughn, you talked about earlier how it's wrong that you have to raise $50,000 to run a campaign, and that's exactly the system where these companies use our resources, get significant tax breaks, and they also wield political power to control the decisions that y'all are making. Whenever we bring all this
medic 1 and consume medic 1 for fall, 125 Greenfield, 125 Greenfield, area 9007. Look up in that 1, that's 724.
And when we bring these concerns, all you say is talk about is the job and the people. We're not talking, we don't want these people to they're not the ones, these corporations are the ones using our water in a situation where they're threatening people if they don't get the tens of millions of gallons of water a day.
And on that one,
chaos and hardship is lacking the context of the tax breaks that they get and full understanding of the situation. Whenever you talk about how desal isn't ever going to kill anyone, that's not what residents are talking about. We're talking about that this plant will just continue the industrial expansion of pollution that is affecting people in the city. And all of these things just show like this system is working against us. This system of capitalism is causing our political and economic structure just to work against the working class residents. And that's why I'm a member, not paid or anything, I'm a member of the Corpus Christi Democratic Socialists of America. The mayor, you're calling people out for being loud and voice district, what do you expect? You're just going to get people acting against your rules whenever y'all make fools of yourself.
Okay, that concludes the virtual part of public comment.
Also having
there are a number of people who say they're in person, but they're not city residents. I'm not sure if anybody else is here.
There's no
the poll taker is calling Michael off now.
No more WebEx, but there are some people who say who signed up in person but are not residents. But I don't know if those folks are here.
Matthew
Rotan, Ashley Griffith, Steve Snyder, Chris Squaya. Okay, I don't see any of those folks. So that would conclude the public comment period. Not
Can you give a better location? Adam 140. And then there'll be 5
And as Officer Lewis was mentioning, we have fought hard for our church. We have fought hard to build the building so that we can be there. As a member who cares for our community, who cares for our city, who cares for our children and our future, I feel like it is in our best interest to protect a small congregation, to protect people that are trying to make a better life for themselves. As Officer Lewis mentioned,
and for all the information that is being brought to you for those of you that continue to sell out our cities. So on that note, hypothetically, I want to ask this council for $1.5 billion to build a new building, to possibly hire 500 new workers that could work there only if there's the right weather, no high winds, and no too much pollen. Then I would like another $1.2 billion in reduced taxes as well.
It doesn't indicate.
The beauty of the bay at night when all you hear is the waves. The little pink flowers that pop up in every patch of grass. They're called pink evening primroses.
Just statement of fact. And I think we've got to start doing the statement of fact more, Mayor, because the stuff that comes up here
because of the price is high right now. Yet, here they are, and they want to vote, go ahead and start pursuing the Inner Harbor desal plant. I mean, I don't know what else I can say to convince you, just like many people in there. We've talked about the environmental issues. We've talked about, the public, the historical racism against the Hillcrest community, which...
Can you show me clear another voice? After the reporting party is Matthew Bates. 1230-2558.
And that's all I really have to say, but I mean, for what I know about it, I only lived on an aircraft carrier during the first Gulf War. And where did I sign up? I signed up here. Why did I go to serve? Because of here. I'd like to keep art.
Barney Davis is the best site. They have 500 MGD intake permit and the power's ready to go. Also, it is the shortest distance to the Gulf District.
Anything else we can move over to the next council meeting?
No, there's nothing.
There's nothing?
Well, we actually...
But a pulse still beating in our languages, our songs, our stories, and our survival. I'm thankful for my wife, for her love, her friendship, her patience, for knowing how to reel me in and hold the line when I'm flying too high like an out-of-control kite, because it happens from time to time. She keeps me grounded, centered, and whole. I want to I'm thankful for my son Atticus for being fearless in his tries and bold in his reach.
Maintenance to try and keep up with all of these codes. So we're recommending that this little slither be sold. The next piece of property is on 4601 Maria Street. This is our old Cock property. This is about 7.79 acres. So this is another one that we don't feel that there would be a future need for this site. The next one is no, that's the covered playground.
Thank you.
And sustaining life on Earth. So if you kill nature, I don't know what life we have. I've said this before. Even if the desal plan is proved to be safe for the environment,
They need water to run, and I feel like we need to do our best to keep water so that we have water also. I like washing my truck. I like watering my grass.
Devices and make up the fabric that we
Right. How have y'all been at?
Oh, I'm not done. I've still got 48 seconds.
Sorry, I need you to leave the council chambers.
Okay, you sure?
Thank you.
All right.
I'll remind you of the official questions. Thank you, sir. Oh, great. We're looking forward to it.
It's like
How have y'all been accessing the
Special assignment at 5601 SPID.
and then to the Clinton Cemetery at 945. 1205, you clear?
Everyone communication will be 250-262. 250-262. 40 traffic.
So then, the racing has not worked out, there's 21, not 20, off of EMS line 801.
And Southern Minerals. They are advising trash truck is smoking. The officers advise that there's a vehicle fire on Southern Minerals at Sedgwick. The truck in the field is surrounded by dry brush.
There's that call 17. He's waiting for his wife. He is a reported criminal aggravated. There's 117-0117.
Signal for Coal Park, State Park.
And make up the fabric that we
Yeah, but I don't know if it's pregnant over there, but from the third, we've been doing it.
Oh, I'm not done. I've still got 48 seconds.
Sorry, I need you to leave the council chambers.
Okay.
I tried one time on the crash. I was 2 separate ones for you. In this Community Art Museum. It's in that way down. For you, copy.
Dollar City secured weapons. Service.
Lincoln Zebra Henry, 8912. Lincoln Zebra Henry, no. 8912. From everywhere. Calls for any prior from Home Depot within the last 24 hours.
Are we in a group?
Probably 350. I'll be at
7457. Thank you.
They're declining EMS, and we're going to be canceled by 10.
we have a current hold on your. Looks like.
Is at the house now. Subject is on pills at James Merrick.
Flying down to an address near 286 Crosstown, Southbound.
Son left his a warrant. That's out the door.
Warrant. Medics take off with a
one and that'll be anywhere in case number 4.
Denver, an unconscious patient at 7252 of the Mansions. Medical advising PD is not needed. Anything from your own day?
3 Charles 1100. Ben Palace.
On the street.
And then from the bathroom, she advised that there's no weapons now. The left area requesting a cancel.
I don't know. For we're checking there.
3-1 southbound bypass is
262-24. 62-41. 76 Spanish Roller. 647.
5 miles prior to turn.
07, you're clear.
6337.
Robert Young, John, 6337. Robert Young, 735. I'm on the location.
647. 631 units are on and temperature 97.9. Station says that
I'm about 30 seconds.
she's been having dizziness since Wednesday after she had a fall.
No, I'm trying to get them off the highway and then we can open up. Everyone else can clear after that point.
Another 4 copy.
Either after she's got some
4900 constables.
4925 traffic. 4925. 4645 315. Work off DLSC at 455. Call for medic 696 for a headache. ESD 1411. 6421 Saratoga. 6421 Saratoga.
201070.
327.
$27
coming back clear. Expired in 2008.
Let's actually have you guys come in on Cedar Pass and wrap her down.
$27. 2500 quarter green color. Jasmine North Area condo.
Medic says
We're going to put them on it right now.
I'm an old man down called at the sharpshooter on Staples 551 South. Advising there's a male in the
What? For what time is about no?
Is she going to buy alcohol or anything, or she just walked in on the house?
So for the job this would be a part of all appealing someone else. She's going to pick up earlier 30 minutes back and no response. You know, Teresa.
Peachtree Apartment.
Call 168 405 13 fire. Yes. An iron morning position. Oh, 714. Can you have to attempt contact with for 1321 Tate's Creek, 1321 Tate's Creek, called in by a CPS caseworker.
And they're not in route yet. For them to have dispatch.
And the children are perfect, and they're in a very good environment. We'll be clear.
Okay. And then I can tell you guys the dispatcher. CD can cancel out there.
Medic cancel clear out back.
That's 180. I'm going to camera for that there. 1201 Logan Avenue, 120 on Logan Avenue.
Contact case number that one. Over engine 363. Call.
Control. And also 285. Your dash numbers are 701. The other 7012.
Friend Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Tyler Robinson has been taken into custody and charged, but also on that day, Desmond Holly, a 16-year-old white male, shot and injured 2 students at a high school in Colorado before killing himself. And according to the Anti-Defamation League, he had a fascination with mass shootings and white supremacy. So do you admit to, deny these facts?
Those happened.
Okay. Your predecessor,
Democratic presidents, and you scrapped the tools that they developed to fight domestic terrorism, including the National Domestic Terrorism Incident Database.
Foreign governments to just perpetrate these platforms, all of these bots, all of the time to weaponize Americans. You see what's going on here? This is a byproduct of all of that. What's going on in the streets is a byproduct of all of that. What's happening is you see people celebrate Luigi Mangione is a byproduct of all of that. And so if we want to do something, then we should talk about Section 230. We should talk about how we're going to make sure that we don't let foreign government.
With regard to prejudice against Catholics, what happened in the big Hindu temple there in New Jersey, have you ever, has anybody ever apologized to the Catholic Church or apologized to that temple?
I don't know, sir.
Okay. Is that something you think would be perhaps a good idea to do in the future?
I think leadership should address it.
Thank you.
And other fentanyl and excuse me, all the other illegal narcotics through the island change in the Caribbean Ocean and ultimately for America. So there has to be more work done in the region to stop those navigable waterways from being traversed with drugs bound for America.
And finally, Mr. Director, what is the one thing that Congress could most do in terms of passing a law to best support the FBI in making America safer and more secure?
authorities dedicated to that mission. And so that's the beauty of the HSCF.
Let me ask you an adjacent question, Director. I noticed in your written testimony, I don't think we've talked about it yet, you brought to our attention an expiring authority. It's in 6 U.S.C. 124N with respect to counter-UAS drones. You point out that authority expires in statute at the end of this month, and you impressed upon us your interest in seeing it extended in some manner. Can you talk a little bit about the FBI's role in counter-UAS work?
Absolutely. And I very much agree. I think we can all agree that political violence is wrong, it's evil, regardless of which side it comes from, and that we can all adamantly and vehemently reject it, or we certainly should. But one of the things that we've noticed recently is that affinity and tolerance for political violence is not equally distributed on both sides of the aisle. In fact, right now, social media is filled with leftists who are cheering, and we can agree that 3% is far too many. But there's an astounding difference between 25% on the left accepting and tolerating political violence and 3% on the right. I would hope that our colleagues on the other side of the aisle would also recognize that there is a systemic problem on their side of the aisle with tolerance for violence against people with whom they politically disagree, that there's a cultural, there are people across this country who are losing their jobs for far less than this. And that, by the way, is a just response to acceptance and tolerance of political violence. It's amazing to me that the political left today, who were the originators and the cheerleaders of cancel culture, now have the backbone to attack conservatives for defending their assassinated friend. But there's a key difference here.
I think Charlie lived that scripture verse, 2 Timothy 4:7, fight the good fight, finish the course, keep the faith. Charlie certainly lived that, and he did it with a smile on his face. And so the tragic, and but for this guy, Kash Patel, but for this guy, we would never have known this information. The good people of this great country would not have known what took place 8 years ago when they were trying to undermine the guy elected by we the people. And I want to thank Attorney General Bondi. She set up a special strike force, a special team to look into this and see if there's any criminal liability that exists in what took place. Now, in addition to getting the truth to the people, Director Patel, and he's given us information that Chris Wray didn't.
And his wife, who miraculously survived a combined 17 gunshots. We saw an arsonist set Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro's residence on fire. And of course, last week, we saw the horrific, cold-blooded assassination of Charlie Kirk in Utah that has shaken the nation. 1 minute after Charlie Kirk was shot in the neck, a 16-year-old shooter in Evergreen, Colorado, radicalized by white supremacist ideology online, opened fire and critically wounded 2 other students in explosions of gun violence. The important position of the FBI requires a leader who puts public safety and national security and the rule of law first. I'm afraid, Director Patel, you've given us reason to believe you've used the powers of the FBI to serve Donald Trump and his agenda of partisan retribution. You've broken your promise not to do that. You've betrayed Jeffrey Epstein's victims and survivors. You've turned your back on the career law enforcement officers of the FBI.
And culprits. At approximately 5 p.m. local time, I arrived on the ground and walked the crime scene myself. And we flew multiple FBI assets in and out to process DNA simultaneously while bringing in evidence response technicians, hostage rescue teams, and other experts to assist state and local law enforcement with their investigation. At 8 p.m. local on September 11th, the FBI collected and populated and promulgated at a press conference a video of the suspect on the grounds. We also released enhanced images in China. And I want the American people to know, in this setting, there's a lot of work that the brave men and women in the FBI are doing we just can't get into, but they don't stop. Our cyber threats, ransomware attacks, those harming our children online. We have nearly a 20% increase in indictments and arrests in 7 months alone this year. We're going after those that harm our malware, infrastructure systems, telecom systems, and energy structure. Combating SALT and Vault typhoons are just a little bit of the examples we're doing. Maybe most importantly, under the counterterrorism and domestic terrorism girl. He is now in custody. Transparency remains one of my main priorities at the FBI. And this is what I've done in my 7 months at the helm. We've produced more than 33,000 pages of documents to Congress to a variety of committees, including, I believe, 7,500 to this committee alone, if memory serves me correct. To put the 33,000 in perspective, my predecessor in 7 years produced 13,000 pages in total to the United States Congress. His predecessor in 4 years.
We have a single story strong. We have a single story strong.
And I do want to highlight one thing about DC, and we are working to bring them justice. And Mr. Chairman, in my 16 years, now my 17 years of government service, if anyone has any questions about my service, bring it on.
Yeah. Thank you, Director. We will now proceed under the 5-minute rule. The chair recognizes the gentleman from California, Mr. Rice.
Director, delighted to have you here. You are a breath of fresh air. As you outlined, and I won't repeat it, the accomplishments, you did so with the same resources as your predecessor.
And Mr. Chairman, in my 16 years, now my 17 years of government service, if anyone has any questions about my service, bring it on.
Yeah. Thank you, Director. We will now proceed under the 5-minute rule. The chair recognizes the gentleman from California, Mr. Rice.
Director, delighted to have you here. You are a breath of fresh air. As you outlined, and I won't repeat it, the accomplishments, you did so with the same resources as your predecessor, roughly. Is that correct?
I believe so, yes. Traffickers, the counterterrorism people, the counterintelligence threats, and cyber threats. That's what they were trained to do, and that's what we're letting them do.
One major question I have, after decades of doing this, on our side of it, both the chairman, myself, and others, both at oversight and here, have seen that the FBI and the Department of Justice hide behind non-statutory practices. Now, you've changed the interpretation of many of those practices.
And the FBI's Public Corruption Squad has been dismantled. I would like to submit for the record a New York Times article entitled, FBI Dismantles Elite Public Corruption Squad. Ask unanimous consent. Thank you. These actions are an invitation to corrupt politicians to break the law, since they know that the government is asleep at the switch. Last month, Senator Warren and I, along with dozens of other members of Congress, wrote to you and Attorney General Bondi expressing...
In a town in my district that just fell victim to a cyber attack on September 12th that interrupted emergency services. Waxhaw is working with state partners, and the FBI has been notified on this attack, and I certainly pray they're able to help out with the ongoing investigation. Could you just speak to what the FBI is doing to bolster our community's cybersecurity to defend against any future cyber attacks?
And conservatives. Since the leak of the Dobbs decision, there have been 354 attacks on Catholic churches. In the first year following the leak, there were more than 100 attacks against pro-life pregnancy care centers, and the shadowy pro-abortion group Jane's Revenge claimed responsibility for 24 of these attacks. Meanwhile, the Biden FBI focused resources on attacking Catholics and peaceful pro-life protesters like Mark Houck and Paul and transgender activists. There have been essentially no incidents of violence by Catholics, pro-lifers, or parents at school board meetings, but there have unfortunately been multiple shootings motivated by leftist and transgender ideology, including recent attacks in Nashville, Colorado Springs, Denver, and Aberdeen. Worse, the targeted violence reached a boiling point this past month. A few weeks ago, an anti-Christian transgender terrorist murdered 2 children and injured 17 alone. And you testified that in his online chat room of more than 20 trans ideologues that you were aware, I believe you said many more. Many were aware of and possibly complicit in the assassination. Director Patel, in light of the increased violence emanating from the far left, is your FBI investigating this violent trend of anti-religious, Antifa, and transgender-driven violence?
All of it across the board is being...
Reason liked Washington, D.C. better when it was more dangerous and more violent, when there were more robberies and carjackings and murders and rapes. But what has the crime picture in Washington, D.C. looked like since the so-called federal takeover?
2,100 arrests, 37% decrease in violent crime same time last year, 60% decrease in gun crimes, 74% decrease in car obviously, and also Venezuela is being utilized heavily by the narco traffickers to send up cocaine, meth, and other fentanyl, and, all the other illegal narcotics through the island chains in the Caribbean Ocean and ultimately for America. So there has to be more work done in the region to stop those navigable waterways from being traversed with drugs bound for America.
And finally, Mr. Director, what is the one thing that Congress could
to get onto social media companies, gaming platforms, have legal access, and also have private partnerships with the FBI of those companies and allow them to report into us on a daily basis. There is no human being or AI system on Earth that can go out there and cover down on the threat in those theaters. And so we need the assistance, and we need more authorities, and we need the private sector to double down.
Well, thank you very much for all you're doing, all the men and women of the FBI are doing to keep us safe. And I yield back.
Get onto social media companies, gaming platforms, have legal access, and also have private partnerships with the FBI of those companies and allow them to report into us on a daily basis. There is no human being or AI system on Earth that can go out there and cover down on the threat in those theaters. And so we need the assistance, and we need more authorities, and we need the private sector to double down.
Well, thank you very much for all you're doing, all the men and women of the FBI are doing to keep us safe. And I yield back.
And more than 10,000 since January.
Without objection. The gentleman from Kansas is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Director, thank you for being here. I have listened carefully to all the discussion in this hearing. I've reached two top-line conclusions. First, I am glad I don't have your job. And second, I am glad you do. Thank you for being willing to step up and serve in this role. I'd like to plow a little bit of ground that we've not spent a lot of time on so far and explore. You mentioned this, where both you and a lot of local and state agencies cooperate in terms of evidence analysis. From the state side, programs such as the HIDA programs, very, very important in counter-drug, such as the Coverdell grants, very, very important in maintaining state laboratory capacities. Would I be correct in concluding that if we are able to maintain robust funding for those types of programs, including both Coverdell and HIDA, that would contribute to the safety of the United States, and a lot of local and state agencies cooperate in terms of evidence analysis. From the state side, programs such as the HIDA programs, very, very important in counter-drug, such as the Coverdell grants, very, very important in maintaining state laboratory capacities. Would I be correct in concluding that if we are able to maintain robust funding for those types of programs, including both Coverdell and HIDA, that would contribute to the safety of the United States and to your mission?
Absolutely. Drug trafficking, foreign terrorist organizations, because they have unique capabilities and authorities dedicated to that mission. And so that's the beauty of the HSCFs.
Let me ask you an adjacent question, Director. I noticed in your written testimony, I don't think we've talked about it yet, you brought to our attention an expiring authority. It's in 6 U.S.C. 124N with respect to counter-UAS drones. You point out that that authority expires in statute at the end of this month, and you impress upon us your interest in seeing it extended in some manner. Can you talk a little bit about
it? The FBI requires a leader who puts public safety and national security and the rule of law first. I'm afraid, Director Patel, you've given us reason to believe you've used the powers of the FBI to serve Donald Trump and his agenda of partisan retribution. You've broken your promise not to do that. You've betrayed Jeffrey Epstein's victims and survivors. You've turned your back on the career law enforcement officers of the FBI, and as a result, you've left all of the officers of the FBI, and as a result, you've left all of us less safe than before. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. That opening statement may have been longer than any book director's ever written or anyone else has written. Without objection, all of the opening statements will be included in the record. We will now introduce today's witness. Mr. Patel has been the director of the FBI since February of 2025. He previously served as chief of staff at the Department of Defense, Deputy Director of National Intelligence with the National Security Council.
In local time, I arrived on the ground to walk the crime scene myself, and we flew multiple FBI assets in and out to process DNA simultaneously while bringing in evidence response technicians, hostage rescue teams, and other experts to assist state and local law enforcement with their investigation. At 8 p.m. local on September 11th, the FBI collected and populated and promulgated at a press conference a video of the suspect on the grounds. We also released enhanced images. Due to that release that I directed and ordered, I've just listed. In just a few short months, we have already unleashed 1,000 FBI personnel across this country. Every single state across this country is getting a plus up. This is a fiction that the FBI is short or that we are compromising the men and women in the field. They do not need to be in Washington, D.C., so we're sending them into the field to each and every one of your states. Because of that, crime is at an all-time low. And prohibiting the collection of further material. That is the original sin. We are working with Congress to produce more than any administration ever has material on Epstein. And I welcome the challenge to tell us that we are not being as transparent as the law allows. We even went to court and asked the judges to lift those prosecutorial agreements and to lift those court order seals, and they denied us 3 times. Congress is welcome to do the same and join the fight. And I'd lastly like to focus on operation that the president led in D.C. Because of this, we are taking this, and I've spoken to his family, and, we are working to bring them justice. And, Mr. Chairman, in my 16 years, now my 17 years of government service, if anyone has any questions about my service, bring it on.
Thank you, Director. We will now proceed under the 5-minute rule. The chair recognizes the gentleman from California, Mr. Ison.
Director, delighted to have you here. You are a breath of fresh air.
And, we are working to bring them justice. And, Mr. Chairman, in my 16 years, now my 17 years of government service, if anyone has any questions about my service, bring it on.
Yeah. Thank you, Director. We will now proceed under the 5-minute rule. The chair recognizes the gentleman from California, Mr. Ison.
Director, delighted to have you here. You are a breath of fresh air.
And harsh words for Republicans in Congress for not getting the Epstein files out to the public. You see this clip.
Boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are.
Put on your big boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are, you said. You emphasized that the president and the FBI director each had complete authority to release Epstein's client list. You said Epstein's black book is under the, quote, direct control of the director of the FBI. Look at this clip.
And manhunting them is step 2, and that's what we're committing our resources to do.
Well, that's my next question, is what progress has administration made in apprehending and removing terrorist threats that came in during the Biden years?
I think you're talking about, if you're not, let me know, known or suspected terrorists, and we've encountered almost 0 at the southern border since the southern border has been sealed. But the problem that we are running into is our northern border. It's largely expansive, the enemy has adapted, and we need more focus on the northern border to stop known or suspected terrorists from coming in from places like China.
John Brennan lied to us?
Mr. Chairman, I won't stylize the evidence. What I will say is that the intelligence community assessment, those that created it, and any individual involved with it, is an ongoing investigation.
There's an investigation into what took place in December and January of December 2016, January 2017, when this whole thing started, this grand conspiracy. That is being investigated, is that right?
That has been publicly announced by the department.
That's been announced by the department. Chris Ray.
And, we've seen spy balloons traverse the United States. We've seen police stations in communities around America. And sitting in the chair you're in just 2 years ago, there was a sheriff from Cochise County, Arizona, Mark Daniels, that was here, who said that the exponential increase in the amount of fentanyl that is coming into America is directly related to the open borders policies of the previous administration. Do you agree with me, who worked in Governor Hochul's office, Christine Fang in California? What are you doing to find these people who are Chinese spies that are trying to burrow themselves into the politics of America? Because we know it's happening, right?
Yes, it is. And what our counterintelligence unit is doing is aggressively seeking the intelligence into where these individuals are working. Then we are utilizing, and just because we've caught a few doesn't mean we've caught everybody. We've got a lot more to go.
I get one more quick question in. The FBI arrested a judge in Wisconsin, Hannah Dugan, for interfering with a federal law enforcement operation. Could you tell us a little bit about that? And is a judge above the law here in the United States of America?
Well, no one is, and that case is ongoing. But as you stated, and these allegations that there was an interference in a federal lawfully executed federal law enforcement priority that was interfered with.
And so that could be a problem.
Who will direct the National Guard in Memphis? Will it be, will they have control over your agents?
No, sir, they won't.
Who will have control over your agents? You?
Well, the SAC and then ultimately the chain of command up to Washington, D.C. will control the FBI, but there's a task force that was put together that is going to be led by an interagency. The heads of U.S. Marshals, DEA, and FBI will be working together with DHS collectively on this.
Have you visited Memphis before?
And during that time, have you held any stock in any companies founded in China? And during that time, have you held any stock in any companies founded in China?
And two, do you agree that Congress should take all action necessary to expose this web of dollars that are flowing to undermine our way of life? I got another minute in my time, then I'd like to hear from you on this topic broadly.
I'll keep it short. Investigatively speaking, we are doing the following. We are following the money. We are following the money in every organization and every person that is violating the federal code. And it doesn't matter what your background or ideology is, we are following the money. We are an informant of the FBI.
So, Director, you've played this cute shell game where you say you can't release everything because the court has said that it legally is not allowed to be released. But the court calls bullshit. Judge Richard Berman said that when you went to the court, quote, information contained in the Epstein grand jury transcripts pales in comparison to Epstein investigation information and materials in the hands of the Department of Justice.
Since the witness decided to interrupt him continuously.
And the witness will be able to respond if he wants. We'll make sure he has time to do that.
My question is, will you, Director, recuse yourself, yes or no, from investigating or making decisions about the 60 individuals, including myself, that you identified as government gangsters? Yes or no?
Time of the gentleman has expired. The witness may respond if he would like.
And the answer was no, as I heard.
Correct. 0512. The gentleman from Wisconsin, the gentleman yields back. The gentleman from Wisconsin is recognized for 5 minutes.
And basically drives home. So do we have any idea what the towel was about? Was it used later to identify a place where the firearm was left, or?
What we can tell you is the towel, there was a screwdriver found on the rooftop, which DNA was collected off of, and the towel was found wrapped around the firearm in question in a wooded area next to the campus. All have been processed for DNA.
And then, according to the suspect's roommate, there were...
I think there was 2 locations, sir.
2019, and in that residence, the FBI found a safe, correct?
I don't have the catalog of evidence in front of me.
In that residence, the FBI found a safe, correct?
I'll accept your representation.
Okay. And in that safe, the FBI found topless and lewd photographs of girls, correct?
Again, sir, I'll accept your representation. I don't know.
It was all over the media at the Times, the New York Times article. That's
to, and we've also eliminated anyone that has ever touched that database that has in any way made a mistake, whether intentional or not. And we have also identified a system in which those going forward who misuse the 702 system, they don't get 2 strikes. They get 1 and you're done.
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned you're continuing to audit because, as you know, in May, the New York Times reported you closed the FBI's Office of Internal Auditing. Can you explain why you decided to close this office?
Yeah, because they're moving them out across the country.
Under previous FBI leadership, FBI agents were found to have lied to the FISC. There have been hundreds of thousands of violations of querying standards. In light of past violations, what action is the FBI taking to ensure that similar abuses do not occur in the future?
Exactly what I've outlined. You cannot have access to the 702 query system if you are moving them out across the country.
Under previous FBI leadership, FBI agents were found to have lied to the FISC. There have been hundreds of...
Victims credibly came forward, and you know what happened? President Trump authorized the indictments of Jeffrey Epstein. Not Biden, not Obama.
And you know what? That's an insult to the victims, and that's an insult to America. Continue to do the work you're doing. Continue to uncover what needs to be uncovered. One real quick thing before I say anything to 9/11. We know that was mishandled by the past director and by the past FBIs. There are family members here. There are family members who are concerned. God Almighty, we want to get to the truth of that. I ask you, please, to meet with them, to talk to them, and to, in a difficult period of time. The FBI trust was broken with the people. Catholics were, this is the stuff we've been talking about, were labeled radical threats for praying in their churches with their rosaries. Parents at school boards were called terrorists for standing up for their children. Hindu holy men in New Jersey. We have the largest Hindu temple in the world. They were attacked. They were put up against the wall with guns to their heads. So it isn't just a Catholic or Christian thing. American Jews were targeted in colleges. And
I requested, that we do this immediately.
I think the director's been very forthcoming. We will hold any motion to subpoena in abeyance until the conclusion of the hearing. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from Texas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Director Patel, for being here. It is quite clear that certain members of this committee, they want their 15 seconds on TV, stamping and coming. Maybe it's for fundraising. Maybe they're struggling in their district. They need a little bump. But
Comey, and I thank you for continuing that investigation. Among the declassified documents are the Durham Report Annex, the Crossfire Binder, and the Nellie Orr Criminal Referral. Could you summarize for those watching what we know about the Russia collusion hoax so far?
From a foreign intelligence asset, only to have that information, which was demonstrably false, turned over to the FBI, who walked into a federal FISA secret court and asked for a secret surveillance court order and lied to the federal court, and we know that because someone was convicted of it, and only to surveil the political opponent. So that is a massive scandal. We helped expose it. And in terms of the pages of productions, I provided 1,400 pages of production related to Crossfire Hurricane, and my predecessors have provided 0. I appreciate it. And even ultimate finished products of those classified documents have to be recorded and or discarded. And if they are discarded, the only way we do that, the hard copies, is we literally put them in burn bags that are identified specifically for that purpose, and there is a very exact courier system in which those burn bags are obtained and the material inside is destroyed.
So it's to get rid of the material, right?
Yes, sir.
And it looks like the annex that Mr. Durham and his...
The structural reform is simple. If you're going to go after a political individual or someone seeking political office, there has to be a grounded basis in law and fact to open up a criminal investigation. And if there's not, the investigation isn't even opened. And I've also gone back and reviewed other cases that were opened in prior administrations related to public officials. And we've closed a number of them because we felt that some of these actions were weaponized on either side of the aisle. I felt it wholly inappropriate and the other IC elements to come in with the NSA, CIA, FBI, and ODNI and put together a collection of information on how the information sort of surrounding Russiagate came together. So he represented the FBI in that.
As former director of CIA, John Brennan, he's denied that the Steele dossier was used in creating the ICA. Is that true?
And a simple written promise to appear in court. Mr. Patel, let me just ask, should judges apply the most lenient bail standards to people with extensive criminal history?
Christians and conservatives. Since the leak of the Dobbs decision, there have been 354 attacks on Catholic churches. In the first year following the leak, there were more than 100 attacks against pro-life pregnancy care centers, and the shadowy pro-abortion group Jane's Revenge claimed responsibility for 24 of these attacks. Meanwhile, the Biden FBI focused resources on attacking Catholics and peaceful pro-life protesters like Mark Houck in making these mentally ill individuals violent.
We're looking at the entire
Our most recent trip was a point of alarm water flow control.
Or Charlie, or where have you. And that's why our investigations are ongoing. We don't have a final product yet.
Called it by 2 different companies.
One of my Democrat colleagues, as an aside, mentioned, quote, the federal takeover of our cities. And I don't know whether my Democrat colleague...
Whenever an FBI agent goes out and interviews someone.
And are you familiar with the 302 where the FBI agent interviewed the whistleblower who's come forward and talked about the former chair of the Intel Committee here in the House pushing staff members to leak classified information? Well, I'll just read from it. Staffers were instructed to use, this is from the 302, interview this person. Staffers were instructed to use any sources that had developed within the United States intelligence community to gather information, quote, and at the actual time this was taking place. That's all in the 302, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
Gentleman from Missouri.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to submit for the record an article from The Hill, Massive Crime Drop in D.C., City Sees Zero Murder Week, dated August 25th, 2025. And I'd also like to submit for the record an article from the New York Times dated April 18th, 2025. And set fire on genocided treatment of Palestinians, police say.
Yeah, thank you. Without objection.
I have.
Gentlelady from
UC.
Texas and then Pennsylvania.
Thank you so much. My first UC is the FBIAA letter to Congress on summary terminations, where it states denying fundamental due process and summarily dismissing special agents will only make it harder to protect our nation. These actions distract agents from their work, foster fear that their assignments could cost them their careers, either.
And there's been increasing concern about the Maduro regime of Venezuela, both their potential support of terrorist activity, criminal drug networks, and potential espionage entities here within the U.S. What can you tell us about your activities regarding the Maduro regime of Venezuela?
Generally speaking, one of the largest transshipment points and shipment points for narcotics out of South America, Colombia, obviously, and also Venezuela, is being utilized heavily by the North Korea to collect evidence and provide it to our interagency partners. Once the foreign terrorist organization designation was labeled over to the Mexican drug cartels, we can now do that here. And in Mexico, and in Colombia, and in Venezuela, and anywhere else they are. And so that's the best analogy I have. What we're able to do is take our
Mayor, I'd like to move that we
traditionally used for global terrorist
increase
and bring it into this hemisphere against a very
the internal
real
auditor's
threat,
salary
which is the drug traffickers,
to
and
make
they
a
are
market
foreign
adjustment
terrorist
to increase
And there are limits on what our state and local authorities have the
we have a
capacity
motion
to
and a
do,
second?
or what our military has the capacity to do once the threat is
retroactive to October 1.
It's critically important. Both the FBI and DHS have those capabilities. I'll speak to the FBI,
I would like to
of
amend
course,
that
only.
to go back
And you
to
raised the
July the
World Cup.
28th.
That's exactly what we needed.
To
The Club
reflect
World
that it
Cup,
would
which
go
just
back to
happened,
when
was
the
32
staff
games, in
received
at
their
least a dozen
pay
different
increase.
cities
So
across the
that would
country,
be my
the largest
amendment
sporting
to
events,
amend it to July the
consecutively in American
28th.
Their
history.
market adjustment.
Their market adjustment.
Charlie was a good man, a happy warrior who fought for principles and values I think are making her special, and certainly was a strong proponent of defending the First Amendment, something this committee cares deeply about.
Can we
Did this over
separate
the
them out
weekend.
and
I
have
think Charlie lived
a
that
vote
scripture verse.
to give them the market
2 Timothy
value?
4:7, fight the good fight,
And
finish
then
the course, keep the
separately
faith.
would be, and that would be the
Charlie
vote,
certainly
one
lived that, and
vote.
he did it
The
with a
second
smile
vote
on
would
his
be to
face. Many
retroactive,
people in
make
the
it
diaspora as
retroactive
well.
to, well, I guess we'd have to.
Sounds like an amendment still.
No, because if you voted on, if you vote, if you're for the market,
This
let's say the
committee
market
and current
value, but
United
not-
States Senator
not
leaked classified
taking
information.
it back to
We learned this because a
October,
whistleblower
I mean,
came forward.
July,
Whistleblower with
then you have to vote
23
the
years
whole thing
experience in
down.
the intelligence
And it's
community,
not that,
a Democrat staffer on the
down first,
committee,
right? So the amendment
said
is
this,
July
they were
1,
pressured to
and if
leak
that goes
classified
down, then you do
information.
I'm sorry, July 28th.
It sort of raises the obvious
and then if
question.
it fails, we vote
Why
on it.
would
then
the
you vote
head
on
of
the
the
other one.
Intelligence
I mean,
Committee, the chair of that
That's
committee,
the way to do it, Mayor.
supposed to be guarding our secrets, why would
the
he be
amendment, and then
encouraging
you
the
said
leaking of
July
committee? And
28th,
current United
yes.
States Senator leaked classified information.
Okay, so we have.
We learned this
we have
because a whistleblower
motion
came
and a
forward.
second.
Okay, and there's
Whistleblower with
public-
23 years
just if we can
experience
ask for
in the
public comment,
intelligence
understood.
community,
Does anybody want to speak?
Democrat
No.
staffer
does
on
it-
the
I'm sorry.
committee,
Yeah, I'm going to open
said
public comment.
this, they were
Anybody?
pressured to
All right,
leak
close public
classified
comment.
information.
So we have a
It
motion
sort of raises
and a
the obvious
second
question.
Or the amendment.
of the
Why would the
amendment.
head of the Intelligence Committee, the
And
chair
that's to
of
go
that
back to
committee,
July. The market value.
supposed to be
go up to
guarding our
market value
secrets,
and
why
go
would
to
he
July.
be encouraging the leaking
so
of
this isn't
classified
gonna read
Indian
that, I'm
American
sorry, but
and a proud
go
Hindu. So I congratulate you on being a breakthrough in this sense and being a beneficiary of the civil rights movement that opened up the FBI and the federal workforce to lots of people who never would have been hired in its first decade.
Mr. Scott, are you still there?
Alas, you share J. Edgar Hoover's dangerous obsession
What did you vote
with
on?
blind loyalty over professionalism and effective
can't
public
hear you.
policy. For Hoover, it was blind loyalty to him
God,
in
we have
keeping
you
his
muted.
secrets. For you, it's blind
Even if
loyalty
you're
to
yelling,
Donald
I can't
Trump
hear
in
you.
keeping his. And now we're seeing one very clear reason why you want to build a political FBI. The Epstein files.
Yes.
You want an FBI blindly loyal to Trump and to you as his enforcer, so you can continue your cover-up of a massive international sex trafficking ring with more than 1,000 victims, betraying all of the survivors of the sexual violence. Before you got in this job, you called for full release of Epstein files, telling podcasts.
This is answered in the affirmative. You can be seated as you are. You've been through this. You've been through this yesterday.
Okay, well, the motion
Fine job.
carries.
Please know that your written testimony will be entered into the record in its entirety. Accordingly, we ask that you summarize your testimony.
Okay,
Director.
okay, but we still have to vote on the regular motion.
Right.
Good
so
morning,
we're just gonna
Mr.
pass
Chairman,
this
Ranking Member
around.
Raskin, and members of the committee.
Yeah.
I want to
So
begin
the
today
motion
by
was to give him
discussing the appalling
168,000.
assassination of Charlie
So
Kirk.
the only issue was
It's important
what
for
it
this
was
FBI to be
retroactive to,
transparent
correct?
without jeopardizing our
So now it's
investigation.
to
So a little bit of the
July 28th. So
timeline
we
is
need to vote on
important.
that.
Charlie Kirk, and we flew multiple
Okay, let me
FBI
find it.
assets
Hold on
in and
one
out to process DNA simultaneously while bringing in evidence response technicians, hostage rescue teams, and other experts to assist
Okay,
state
so it
and
just
local
says
law
motion
enforcement
number
with their
2. It's not
investigation.
real explicit.
At 8
but
p.m.
it is.
local on September 11th, the FBI collected and
So this is
populated
as
and
amended.
promulgated at a press conference a video of the suspect on the ground.
Mr. Scott?
We also released enhanced
Yes.
images. Due to that release that I directed and ordered, the suspect involved was apprehended
the
and in
motion
custody.
carries.
And this is what I've done in my 7 months at the helm. We've
Okay,
produced more than
okay.
33,000
So that's it. There
pages
being no further
of
business,
documents
this
to
meeting is
Congress to a
adjourned.
variety of committees, including, I believe, 7,500 to this committee alone, if memory serves me correct. To put the 33,000 in perspective, my predecessor in 7 years produced 13,000 pages in total to the United States Congress. His predecessor in 4 years produced 3,000 pages in total. I repeat, I have produced 33,000 pages in.
We never again have false walls, non-statutory walls that say the Department of Justice has a prohibition about giving, quote, you fill in the blank, that has led to the chairman not seeing anything until you took over.
I'm wedded to aggressive constitutional oversight. Having been a House congressional staffer, I know that is an important part of securing our democracy. And the way we make it an everlasting, enduring process is by showing the American people the results of what we are doing and the important work of this committee and putting it.
And I would hope that that be the follow-up to this, obviously along with the Attorney General. And I yield back my 4 seconds.
Thank you. The gentleman yields back. The gentleman from New York is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome, Director Patel. In the wake of the tragic murder of Charlie Kirk, Donald Trump said, quote, "Violence and murder are the tragic consequences of demonizing those with whom you disagree, day after day, year after year, in the most hateful and despicable way possible." When I announced my decision not to seek re-election, many people on both sides of the aisle, including the chairman, offered me well wishes and thanked me for my service. Donald Trump, on the other hand, took to Truth Social to call me a, quote, psychopathic nut job, among other things. Yesterday, I received a threatening note filled with anti-Semitic comments and hateful attacks that mimicked some of the same language used by the president. I am sure many of us on this committee face similar threats every day. We have seen...
And let us know who the pedophiles are.
Put on your big boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are, you said. You emphasized that the president and FBI director each had complete authority to release Epstein's client list. You said Epstein's black book is under the, quote, direct control of the director of the FBI. Look at this clip.
This is way off the topic, but who has Jeffrey Epstein's black book? Black book.
FBI.
But who?
And what progress have you been making in combating their presence?
I think the DHS is best to speak to that, but I think I can't remember the numbers of tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of individuals they found that came in illegally, and the tens of thousands that associations to criminal networks have all been deported.
And that effort is being opposed every step of the way by Democratic leaders in our cities, some of our states, and right here in the Congress. Isn't that true?
Well, we're just working where we can in every single city we can, and I welcome the opportunity to partner with Republicans or Democrats for Carter Page and the rest of the Trump campaign.
And that is frightening, because that's what the CIA is supposed to do in foreign countries. It's not supposed to happen to Americans, but it did, didn't it, Director?
Yes.
And not just any Americans, it happened with the President of the United States. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and you were the key guy in helping expose that. And I think our country will be forever grateful for what you did to let the country know that was going on involving...
And just because we've caught a few doesn't mean we've caught everybody. We've got a lot more to go.
I get one more quick question in. The FBI arrested a judge in Wisconsin, Hannah Dugan, for interfering with a federal law enforcement operation. Could you tell us a little bit about that? And is a judge above the law here in the United States of America?
Well, no one is, and that case is ongoing, but as you stated, and these allegations that there was an interference in a federal lawfully executed federal law enforcement priority that was interfered with.
I yield back.
Militarily and economically, isn't that correct?
I think so.
Yes, sir. You've been FBI director for the last, 8 months?
7 months, yes.
7 months, and during that time, have you held any stock in any companies founded in China? Did. And now, do you still hold that stock in that Chinese company?
Pursuant to the Department of Justice reviewed my material that was submitted during my confirmation process, I was able to hold certain stocks, and they made the decision.
You still hold the stocks that you have? You still hold on to these Chinese stocks? These stocks in this Chinese company?
I disagree that it's a
consent request to enter into the record a NPR report from July of 2024. GOP vows to make America safe again. Statistics contradict their growing crime claims.
Without objection.
Also, a report out of the American Presidency Project dated January 17, 2025, record low crime during
hiding child pedophiles is disgusting. Anyone that says that needs to look at the stats alone and go back to the state of California, who's receiving the biggest surge in FBI resources through my redeployment because the cities of Los Angeles, San Diego, and San Francisco need it.
Director, remembering your oath to tell the truth, did you ever tell Donald Trump his name is in the files?
Hiding child pedophiles is disgusting. Anyone that says that needs to look at the stats alone and go back to the state of California, who's receiving the biggest surge in FBI resources through my redeployment because the cities of Los Angeles, San Diego, and San Francisco need it.
Director, remembering your oath to tell the truth, did you ever tell Donald Trump his name is in the files?
Files and the reviews conducted by our team.
Did you tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files?
And we have released where President Trump's name is in the
It's a simple
attorney's
question.
file.
Did you tell the Attorney General that the President's name is in the Epstein files?
During many conversations that the Attorney General and I have had on the matter of Epstein, we have reviewed.
The question is simple.
Who
did you tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files? Yes or no?
Why don't you try spelling it out if
Yes
you're going
or
to mock
no,
me?
Director?
Use the alphabet.
Yes or no?
No, the reviews conducted by our team.
Did you tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files?
And we
Okay,
have
good
released
morning,
where
everyone,
President Trump
and
is
thank you all for joining us here at City Hall in our beautiful council chambers this morning.
During many
As always,
conversations
we gather
that
to
the Attorney
acknowledge
General and I
individuals
have
or
had
teams,
on the matter of Epstein, we have
businesses,
reviewed.
and
The question is
organizations who
simple.
make it a priority
Did
to
you
positively
tell
impact our
the
community and the people who live in
General
it.
that
So this
Donald
morning,
Trump's name is in the
District
Epstein files? Yes or
Councilman,
no?
Why don't you
District
try
1
spelling
Councilman
it out?
Everett
Yes or
Roy
no?
will be assisting
Use
me
the
in
alphabet.
reading
Yes or no?
proclamations.
No, ABC.
So first, we have a great
Anyone that is
proclamation for the
incorporated
Demas
the FBI has been
brothers.
done so because they failed to meet
This
the
is Mr.
muster of
Demas,
the
right? This is
constitutional
your side.
obligation.
And then you work
audiovisual
at the piano.
I'm going to borrow your
gallery.
terminology and call
So we're
bullshit
going to
on
read
your
this
entire
wonderful
career in Congress.
commendation
Give me my
for
time,
this
Director.
Disgrace
business
to the
that has
American
been
people. You can reclaim your time all you want.
Mr. Chairman, you're going to allow witnesses to speak, Mr. Chairman. Years of exceptional craftsmanship, family legacy, and community service. The city of Corpus Christi proudly commends Demas Brothers Piano Service for their enduring commitment to excellence and tradition. Rooted in a legacy that began in the early 1930s when the Demas family first arrived in Corpus Christi. This remarkable journey is one built on hard work, service, and pride in the community. After serving our nation with honor in the United States Navy for 2 members commissioning the USS Lexington, the Congress in our harbor today, the Demas brothers returned home and devoted themselves to administering the piano craft. In 1975, their passion and skill gave rise to Demas Brothers Piano Service, the city's only full-service piano company. For 5 decades, this family owned and operated businesses elevated musical landscape for our city, selling over 1,000 pianos, restoring hundreds more, and moving over 2,000 instruments with exceptional care. Through their artistry and integrity, not a single piano has ever been damaged in their care, a testament to their precision and pride in workmanship. Beyond their business this success, the Demas family's
There were-
generosity
and he
has
said,
deeply
"Wait a minute.
enriched our
I
community,
gotta show you something."
with over 100,000
And they went
in
into
local
his
donations
safe,
and more than
and he
100
came out
pianos
with-
gifted
with,
to schools,
with
churches,
the
and
photographs.
organizations that
they were
continue to share
Polaroids,
the gift
I
of music
think. And,
across generations.
And he kind of
Today,
kind
the
of- they
business
were-
is
he
operated
kind of
by Dominique Demas,
spread them
who
out like
continues the
playing
tradition
cards.
built
And
on connection,
it was
family,
Trump-
and
I
heartfelt
think there were a
service,
dozen of
touching
them, and-
lives with
and
every
it was
restored
Trump
note and
with
cherished story.
girls
So the city of
of an
Corpus Christi
uncertain
extends its
age
deepest
at
appreciation
Epstein's,
to the
and he
Demas
said,
family
"Wait a
for their
minute.
lasting
I gotta
impact,
show you
steadfast
something."
integrity,
And they
and
went into
dedication
his
to the
safe,
cultural and
he
musical
came out
heartbeat
with-
of our city.
with,
Congratulations and
with
thank you for
photographs.
all
They
you
were-
have given.
They were Polaroids, I think, and he kind of they were he kind of spread them out like playing cards, and it
Thank
was
you.
Trump.
Yes.
I mean, I think there were a dozen of them, and it was Trump with girls of an uncertain age at Epstein's.
And in the Epstein file, was there that creepy birthday message that Donald Trump had written to Epstein?
No, that's what I was trying to tell you. You raise a great point. The estate of Jeffrey Epstein has a voluminous amount of information that they have not released before.
Okay, so that's great. So wouldn't it be great if FBI subpoenaed the estate of Jeffrey Epstein for all that information?
The estate is under no obligation to provide that material, even pursuant to a subpoena. That's a great point.
Yeah, that's just false.
Okay.
That's just false. You're the frickin' FBI. You can subpoena the information from the estate, and you.
So let me tell you that the Wall Street Journal reported that in May, Bondi told Trump that he was in the Epstein files, and at the same meeting said that the DOJ did not plan to release the files. Yesterday, you testified to Senator Kennedy that there was, quote, no credible information that Epstein trafficked girls to anyone else.
Okay,
and
our
that
next
you have,
proclamation
quote,
recognizes,
continuously and publicly asked the public to come forward with more information, and we'll look into it.
We, let's see, the citizens who play an active role in HIV awareness, prevention, and treatment. And so now Councilman Roy will read the proclamation.
For the rich and powerful men, including those that might be on this
Good morning.
committee?
I can yell
Or
too,
are
Mr.
you
Chairman.
going
I don't
to
want to
allow
yell
them
first.
to
2025 marks the annual observance of World AIDS Day. World AIDS Day is an opportunity for people worldwide to unite in the fight against HIV.
With the people,
To show
Catholics
support
were-
for people
this is
living with
stuff
HIV
we've been
and to
talking about.
commemorate
We're
those who have
radical
died
threats for
from
praying in
an
their
AIDS-related
churches with their
illness.
rosaries. Parents and school boards were
Whereas
called
World AIDS
terrorists for
Day
standing up for their
provides an
children.
opportunity
Hindu
for all
holy men in New Jersey.
interested, from
We have
government
a large-
to
the
community
largest
groups
Hindu temple in
and
the
communities
world.
of faith,
They were attacked. They were put up
to
against
promote
the
awareness
wall
of
with
HIV.
guns to their heads. So it isn't
Throughout
just the
Corpus
Catholic
Christi, a
or
variety of
Christian
events are
American
scheduled to
Jews were
reinforce the
targeted in
importance of
colleges
this
and
issue.
universities,
And
a lot of folks in
whereas the
FBI in
global
the past
HIV
have-
response is in danger, even as HIV remains a major public health issue that affects millions of people worldwide. Over the last few years, progress towards HIV goals has stalled. Resources have shrunk, and millions of lives are at risk as a result. And whereas the 2025 World AIDS Day campaign calls for us to overcome disruption and transform the AIDS response, we call on global leaders and citizens to boldly recognize and address the inequities which are holding back the progress in ending AIDS, and equalize access to essential HIV services to key populations. And whereas the Coastal Bend Wellness Foundation promotes this message by calling on every member of the community to stand up and fight against the disease itself, promoting testing for early diagnosis to reduce the spread of infection and education of the disease to eliminate stigma. We must fight discrimination against those with HIV and spread the truth about what HIV is and the effect it has on our community.
Local senior recently was talking to me about a text
And
she
now,
had
therefore,
gotten.
pursuant to the powers
Demand by
vested
the
in me
IRS
as the mayor of the city of
send a
Corpus
payment
Christi, I do
immediately,
hereby
or the
proclaim
IRS
December
agents
the
are on their way
1st,
to arrest this
2025,
individual.
World AIDS Day in
Pretty
Corpus
gutsy
Christi,
stuff.
Texas, and encourage all citizens to play an active role in HIV awareness, prevention, and treatment.
Cut isn't entirely
You're still getting cut $200 million plus. You're still moving your agents
Thank you, Mayor
to
and council
do ICE
members,
work.
for recognizing
So
World
you are
AIDS
leaving a
Day.
lot of
Today we
bases
honor the lives
uncovered.
lost,
And I'm
support
not going
those
to be
living with
argumentative with you.
HIV,
and reaffirm our commitment to
I'm just
ending
saying-
stigma and expanding access for care.
Proactively going
For the
out
past
onto
40
these
years, the
social
Coastal
media platforms,
Foundation
which are
has
so
been the
large.
region's
These
only
are our biggest
HIV serving
And
organization,
we need to rely
and
on
we
the
remain
service
committed to
providers.
this
There's
work.
actual legislation, I can't
We are
remember the name
hosting
of it,
World
that's up
AIDS
for
Day
renewal.
events during the week of December
Which will,
1st,
and I think
and
at
we
the end of the
invite our
month,
community to
which
join us.
gives
For
service
details,
providers
please
the ability
visit
to
our
report that
website,
information in from their end
www.cbwellness.org.
liability. We
Thank
need
you
that
for
to
helping us
continue,
to build a
because while the
healthier,
FBI has
more
so many
compassionate
people in the
community.
police are great at doing it. There's just too many problems.
Stand here.
Actually, lied repeatedly. He pushed for the Steel ICA to be included in the ICA. Is that true?
And said that Congress had not appropriated sufficient resources for them to be able to protect our tribal communities. Mr. Patel, what is the Trump FBI doing to counter the drug cartel infiltration and other violent crime targeting our Native American communities?
And both Democratic presidents, and you scrap the tools that they developed to fight domestic terrorism, including the National Domestic Terrorism Incident Database.
Manages the Combined DNA Index System, or CODIS, which compares over 25 million DNA profiles and aids more than 125 investigations each day. Director Patel, why is this important to law enforcement nationwide?
All of law enforcement relies on our CJIS operation out of West Virginia. And what that does is allow 19,000 agencies to come in and say, hey, does this guy have a criminal history? Hey, is this an illegal firearm? Do we have a DNA hit like we did in these?
I just because we have such little time. Are you making a commitment right now to follow where the evidence goes in investigating whether there's violence on the left or the right?
Introduction,
Because
alma mater
over the last 10 years, when you look at the ideology, I want to follow up on what my colleague
honors
from
the
California
Flower
said.
Bluff
When
High
you
School
look at the
tennis
data,
team,
you look
boys
at
and
the
girls, for their
anti-defamation
recent
data,
state qualifying
96%
accomplishment
of ideological
in the
motivated
school's
killings were committed
history.
by the right
So
wing.
now I'll read this commendation.
When
Let me
you
stand
look
over here.
at the
Okay,
Institute
so
of
as
Justice
mayor of
and
the city
what
of Corpus
government
Christi,
should
I
look
am
like.
proud to
Whether
recognize
or not
the
we should have
outstanding
strong
achievements
sovereign
of the
borders,
Flower Bluff High
whether
School
or not
tennis
we should
team.
have safe
In
communities,
recognition
whether or
of an
not we should have
extraordinary
places to worship
season
our
marked by
God
historic
and not worry
achievement,
about being
outstanding
shot,
teamwork,
whether or
and
not
of
we live in
course
communities and
determination.
cities
The
that are
Flower
not
Bluff High School
overwhelmed by
tennis team
drugs and
completed
crime,
an
whether or not we
undefeated
have
12-0
two genders, and whether or not we have
preseason
common
and
sense
an
in our
undefeated
policies and
8-0
our
district
values.
run,
If people that believe
establishing
these
themselves
things are
early
not
as a
existential
truly
threats,
exceptional program. Their postseason success reflects remarkable perseverance and competitive excellence. The Hornets defeated the 23rd ranked team in the state and made school history with their first ever victory over Alamo Heights. Way to go.
What's going on?
Overcoming
in
a
the
9-7 deficit,
can't solve
fighting off 11 match points, and reversing last year's
Director, let me say
10-1
first, thank you
loss
for
with a
being
dramatic
here,
10-9 win.
my
They
condolences
continued their momentum by rallying from 8 to 5. Is it 8 to 5?
I'm happy to hear.
I'm here in Washington, D.C. since
Okay,
the FBI
8 and 5
and the
to
National Guard got
defeat
involved.
Bernie High School.
I'm kind of asking you to state
10
the
to
obvious
8,
here.
securing their place
but
at the
what
state
is the
tournament.
mechanism there?
Guided by the
Why have
strong
we seen a
leadership
reduction
of
crime when
coaches
DC has
Steve
had
and
such a huge
Jacqueline
crime problem
Bonds,
for years,
the
and then
team
almost overnight we see
advanced
such
to
a
the
big
state
difference?
semifinals with a
dedication and
commanding
resources from
10-0
President Trump's
victory over
administration to
A&M
utilize all federal, state,
Consolidated
and local
before
assets in a
competing
heavily
against
crime-ridden
three-time state
area.
champion
I mean,
Frisco
if we did
Centennial.
not have a crime-ridden
This remarkable
area,
season
then
marks the
homicides,
first
carjackings,
state tournament
and,
appearance in program history
unclassified
and
matter,
stands as a
and we
proud
released the
milestone for
classified
Flower
version
Bluff High
finally
School and the entire Coastal Bend community. So on
You released
behalf
that in
of the
July
city
of
of
this
Corpus
year.
Christi, we congratulate
Isn't it
you on
true
your
that in the-
outstanding
in the-
season, and we are
the
so proud of
classified
every single
Durham
one of you.
Annex, as it's
You
referred
don't
to,
only
that in
represent
2016,
your
the
school,
Obama
you
administration
represent
obtained
this
intelligence
city.
information
You represent
from a
a
source
lot of
contained in
people,
two
whether
separate
you're wearing
memoranda,
your
one in
uniforms or
January of
not. So
2016
know
and one in
that, and you've
March.
done an excellent
The two
job. We're
memoranda
so proud of you.
confidential
And to the coaches,
conversations,
thank you
your
as
take.
well.
The fight is not over. Isn't that correct? When you look at what happened in the previous administration, the number of illegal alien criminals that made their way into this country,
Are you the team
every
captain?
type, they're embedded, they're here, and it's going to take a sustained effort to win this battle.
Thank you so much.
That's
It's
the
an honor
critical
to be here.
component. Sustained effort.
Thank you, Mayor.
And that's the
As
critical
a
component when you
Hornet,
look at
I know
what
you're
happened
proud.
in Washington, D.C. We're
Thank
not
you, City
here for 4
Council.
seconds in
I'd
terms
like
of
to thank our
safeguarding
principal,
Washington,
athletic
D.C.
director,
It's a sustained initiative.
and these
Take that from
individuals here.
Memphis.
Can you just explain how tactically that
Team
is
of
a force
Destiny was our
multiplier in the law
road to
enforcement
Waco
community?
was our theme. It was
It's pretty
amazing.
simple.
Thank you.
You don't even have to be in law enforcement. If you put cops, they're going to do cops.
And what was needed in the communities out there was more cops. What was not needed in the bloated bureaucracy of Washington, D.C. was a third of the FBI's
Well,
workforce.
since my freshman year, our team has always made it to the regional finals, I think, maybe semis. And this team has been very competitive for a while, and we've always been pretty close, but not yet made it. But this year, everyone managed to pull through, and it wasn't just work in the class period or at school, it was hours outside of school. Hours and tournaments after tournaments, and I know these people work their butts off to get here, and it's just really exciting that we got to do it with the people we've been with for so long, and I'm just happy it was this team and these people that we got to make this memory with.
Yesterday. The Catholic Church or apologize.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Is that something you think would be perhaps
what Kate was saying, team chemistry, it was definitely a big part of this.
Interrupted
And
emergency services.
I think
Waxhaw's
this
working
team was
with state partners and the
so
FBI has been
amazing throughout
notified on this attack. And I
playoffs
certainly pray
because
they're able
everyone
to
was
help
really
out with the ongoing
had
investigation.
a good
Could
mood
you
the
just
whole
speak to
time.
what the
And
FBI is doing to bolster
after
our
regionals, we
community's
knew that we had
cybersecurity
nothing
to
to
defend
lose,
against any future
and it was
cyber
just a good
attacks?
experience.
Conservatives. Since the leak of the Dobbs decision, there have been 354 attacks on Catholic churches. In the first year following the leak,
My
there
freshman
were
year,
more than 100
we did not go
attacks
very far.
against
We
pro-life
lost,
pregnancy
what was it,
care
second round of playoffs?
And the shadowy
So,
pro-abortion group, James Revenge, claimed
to finish
responsibility
off
for 24
my senior year
of these attacks.
with a state
Meanwhile, the
finals
Biden
match,
FBI-focused
it
resources
was one of the
on
greatest things that's ever happened to me.
Catholics and peaceful pro-life protesters like Mark Hoppe, Paul Vaughn, and violent transgender activists. There have been essentially no incidents of violence by Catholics, pro-lifers, or parents at school board meetings, but there have unfortunately been multiple shootings motivated by leftist and transgender ideology, including recent attacks in Nashville, Colorado Springs, Denver, and Aberdeen. Worse, the targeted violence reached a boiling point this past month. A few weeks ago, an anti-Christian transgender terrorist murdered 2 children and injured 17 in making these mentally ill individuals violent.
We're looking at the entire spider web for any of these attacks, be it Denver or Charlie or where have you, and that's why our investigations are ongoing. We don't have a final product yet.
In making these mentally ill individuals violent.
We're looking at the entire spider web for any of these attacks, be it Denver or Charlie or where have you, and that's why our investigations are ongoing. We don't have a final product yet. Yes, and also have private partnerships with the FBI of those companies and allow them to report to us.
They want to shake your hand. Turn around, they want to shake your hand. Man, get the camera. Yes, come here, we'll take a quick picture.
In those theaters. And so we need the assistance, and we need more authorities, and we need the private sector to double down.
Well, thank you very much for all you're doing, all the men and women of the FBI are doing to keep us safe. And I yield back.
Gentleman yields back for the UC request from the gentleman from Arizona.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We haven't talked about yet. So the president, in one of his first actions upon taking office back in January, designated a number of the cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. That's not just a paper transaction. I believe the list has been expanded since those first actions. In terms of America's military engagement with the cartels abroad, in terms of our intelligence engagement with them abroad, that designation has had real meaning and has affected some of the thinking and approaches of our military and our intelligence community.
And thankfully, because of the success of the FBI DHS, we had no significant and flipping to the World Cup, which is going to be 3 times as large, and obviously the largest we've ever had, and blending into the LA Olympics in 28, our counter-UAS capabilities are going to be the ones that enable us to have literal bird's-eye view of the threat dynamic around so many of the cities, which are going to see literally tens and hundreds of thousands of people. So we have to have.
And making sure the bad guys don't have the.
And thankfully, because of the success of the FBI DHS, we had no significant security threats. And flipping to the World Cup, which is going to be 3 times as large, and obviously the largest we've ever had, and blending into the LA Olympics in 28, the counter-UAS capabilities are going to be the ones that enable us to have literal bird's-eye view of the threat dynamic around so many of the cities, which are going to see literally tens and hundreds of thousands of people flock to them. So we have to have it.
And making sure the bad guys don't have the same.
Exactly.
And it's not just random people on Twitter doing this now. There's a YouGov poll released just a few days ago, which stated that 25% of those who identify as very liberal believe that political violence can sometimes be justified. That's far too many, is it not? It is. One is far too many. That's right. Only 3% of very conservatives said the same thing, and we can agree that 3% is far too many. But there's an astounding
over the weekend. I think Charlie lived that scripture verse, 2 Timothy 4:7, fight the good fight, finish the course, keep the faith. Charlie certainly lived that, and he did it with a smile on his face. And so the tragic, he's given us information that Chris Ray didn't. And he said better, he's given us information that Chris Ray wouldn't. Didn't tell us that there were 17 of those confidential human sources who had restricted
Okay,
space.
ladies and gentlemen, the individuals behind me have been appointed by the city council to serve on one of the city's boards, commissions, committees, or corporations. So we appreciate your willingness to volunteer your time to serve the city in this manner, and all we ask is that you make decisions that you feel are in the best interest of the city, of course. So if you'll raise your hand, I'll call your name. We have Ann Coover.
Alas, they were not.
Yeah, library board.
Well, most other
okay,
FBI
Marilena Garza, library board. Pooja
have
Bingdino,
that.
library board.
But
And
you did
Matthew
write
Moore,
a picture
ethics
book
commission.
trilogy for children ages 5 and up, based on your experience clashing with President Trump's
Okay, if you'll
political
raise your right
enemies.
hand and
In
repeat
your
after
book,
me
you
and state your name.
described literary ultra and the explosively volatile temper
Do
that was on
solemnly
display
swear
yesterday in the Senate. But the
that I will
intractable
faithfully
problem
execute
is that you are running the FBI not as
the
a law
duties of this
enforcement
office
agency charged with keeping the American
to which I
people
have been
safe,
appointed
but as a political enforcement agency
of the state of
working
Texas
directly for the president's vengeance campaign.
and will to the
7 months in,
to the best of
it's
my ability
impossible to overstate the destruction, chaos, and
preserve,
demoralization
protect, and defend
you've brought to the FBI and its workforce,
the
and the resulting
Constitution
danger
and laws of the
your
United
actions
States
have caused to our mass shootings at schools, like the
and of
domestic
this
terror
state.
incident at a Catholic school
So
in
help me God.
Minneapolis last month, which killed 2 children and wounded 18 others. And in August, a man fired more than 500 bullets at the Centers for Disease Control Prevention, killing a police officer who was a Marine veteran and a father. People like Melissa Hortman and Charlie Kirk should be able to participate in politics as elected officials or active citizens without being shot down in cold blood in the United States of America.
Just to do our oversight properly, and I would hope that that be the follow-up to this, and obviously along with the Attorney General. And I yield back my 4 seconds.
Thank you. The gentleman yields back. The gentleman from New York is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome, Director Patel. In the wake of the tragic murder of Charlie Kirk, Donald Trump said, quote, "Violence and murder are the tragic consequences of demonizing those with whom you disagree, day after day, year after year, in the most hateful."
This time last year, the work speaks for itself.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you. Appreciate your good work, Director Patel. Yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
Thank you kindly, Mr. Chairman. Director Patel, before you joined the FBI, you railed against it for covering up Jeffrey Epstein's human trafficking ring. Let me refresh your memory with this clip.
It has Epstein's list. They're sitting on it. That doesn't seem like something you should do. You're protecting the world's foremost predator. That seems like an evil thing to do.
And what progress have you been making in combating their presence?
I think the DHS is best to speak to that, but I think, I can't remember the numbers of tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of individuals they found that came in illegally, and the tens of thousands of associations of criminal networks have all been deported.
And that effort is being opposed every step of the way by Democratic leaders in our cities, some of our states, and right here in the Congress. Isn't that true?
Well, we're just working where we can in every single city we can, and I welcome the opportunity to partner with Republicans.
I have 3 questions for you, Mr. Patel, about this. First, how many times did President Trump's name appear in the Epstein files? Was it more than 100, more than 1,000? Were the agents who were pulled from their duties to redact the president's name from the Epstein files working on criminal cases or national security cases or child sex trafficking cases? And are the number of agents that have been reported diverted for these purposes?
And with that, I would yield back.
Without objection, gentleman yields back the...
Mr. Chairman, I have a couple of unanimous
Gentleman's
requests. One is a letter from Senator Tom Cotton dated last year urging the U.S. to, quote, ensure that data from U.S. companies is not harvested by the Chinese Communist Party through the purchase of high-end software and technology.
We came out with
the call that you guys are on, we have an estimated
website, I think, and any kind of capability, it kind of spread them out like playing cards, and it was Trump. I mean, I think there were a dozen of them, and it was Trump with girls of an uncertain age at Epstein's Palm Beach house, where all of the things that he could ultimately be accused of. And then a third in which he has a stain on the front
Good
of
morning,
his
everyone.
pants.
Welcome to City Hall and welcome to council chambers. I'd like to call this meeting to order. And this morning, our invocation will be given by Father Raju with Saint Peter, Prince of the Apostle
That's what I was
Church.
trying to tell you. You raise a great point. The estate of Jeffrey Epstein has a voluminous amount of information that they have not released before.
Heavenly Father,
So that's great. So
we come before you today seeking your guidance and wisdom as we begin this City Council meeting.
Even pursuant to a subpoena.
We thank you
That's
for
a
the
great point.
privilege to serve our community, and we ask for your presence to be with us as we discuss and make decisions that will impact the lives of those we represent.
Identified as system
Grant us the
in which
wisdom to
those going
discern
forward
what is best for the common good, the courage to make difficult decisions with integrity, and the humility to listen to each other with open hearts and minds. Help us to set aside personal interests so that we may work together for justice,
in
peace,
response to Mr.
and the
Massey's
flourishing of
question,
all in our
you
city.
appear to say that the
May your grace be upon us
survivors were not
as we strive
credible.
to serve with
These are
fairness,
survivors.
compassion,
That's not at all what I said.
and a
Okay, great.
spirit
I'm going
of
to ask you
unity.
this in a second, but let me tell you
We
about
ask
the
this Don't lie about
survivors,
me. In your
and let's
holy
bring
name.
them up here into the
Amen.
room. These
Amen.
are women.
Thank
who
you,
came
Father.
to the Hill and testified
And our pledge allegiance
that
to
they
the
were
flag of the
groomed
United States and to
raped
the
at age
Texas
of
state
14
flag
and 16.
will be led by Jonathan Zaginahousa. He attends Los Encinos Elementary. He has perfect attendance, and he excels. That's right. Where did he go? No, just kidding. And he excels in perseverance in completing his work diligently. That is what the teachers say about him.
Or Christian thing.
Go
American
ahead.
Jews were targeted in colleges and
That's right.
universities, and a lot of folks in the FBI, in the past FBI.
The Pledge of Allegiance.
Charlie Kirk.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Learned of new documents tied to the Crossfire hurricane investigation and
Please
Russian
join
collusion
me
hoax
to
against
honor
President Trump.
the
Your
Texas
efforts in
flag.
declassifying key documents tied to this
Honor
investigation
the
allowed the committee
Texas
to acquire
flag.
thousands of pages
I pledge allegiance to
previously.
thee. Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Jonathan, thank you, Zach.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing that. On August 11th, you released to the committee documents concerning leak investigations of 2017. I believe these leaks
Okay.
were accidental.
Oh, he's walking off on his own, yeah. Like, bye, Mom. Bye, Dad. Okay, Ms. Huerta, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Paulette Guajardo.
Present.
Council members Roland Barrera. Sylvia Campos. Gil Hernandez. Michael Hunter. Jim Klein. Mike Pesley. Everett Roy. Dan Suckley. City Manager Peter Zanoni.
Present.
City Attorney Miles Risley.
Just very quickly,
Mayor and
I
Council, a
would-
quorum of the council and the
Thank you for
required
being
charter
here for
officers
your
are present to
services.
conduct the meeting.
Great, thank you, Ms. Westphal. So now we'll go to item E, our city manager's comments and update on city operations. Mr. Zanoni.
Great, thank you, Mayor, and good morning, Mayor, and members of the council and the community. We have two items on the city manager's report today, and the first one is to make sure everybody is aware of the Texas Jazz Festival that will take place later this week and into the weekend. And so it is the 63rd Annual Jazz Festival, and it's held at our Heritage Park beginning this Friday, October 18th through Sunday, October 20th. And according to the Texas Jazz Festival Society, the Jazz Festival has been a staple in our community and is the longest and largest free-running jazz festival around, with many visitors coming to Corpus Christi from across the state and as well as the U.S. to hear the performances. So this year, the festival will include over 50 live band performances. There'll be 45 craft vendors and 14 food trucks through the weekend. The anticipated attendance is expected to be about 30,000 people over that 3-day period. So the Jazz Festival is open to all ages, and again, it's free. And just to remind you of the time, so Friday, October 18, it will begin at 5:30 p.m. and it'll go to midnight. And then Saturday, they'll resume at noon, and that'll go into the early morning hours to 1 a.m. to participate there. And then Sunday, October 20th, it'll pick back up again at noon, and it'll conclude at 6 p.m. on Sunday. So 3 good days of jazz. The city and the Texas Jazz Festival Society, as they have in the past couple of years, have partnered with our partners at RTA to provide free shuttle service as a park and ride service to Heritage Park from 3 locations. So if you don't want to deal with parking in the vicinity, you can park your vehicle and take a free bus ride. Those 3 park and ride locations include the City Hall parking lot right here, Nueces County Courthouse parking lot, and then down at Texas A&M University near the bus stop, or at the bus stop on Ocean Drive by the Performing Arts Center. So that would be the Texas A&M University park and ride location. So at this time, I'd like to invite Nick Martinez. He was here the last couple of years. He is the president of the Jazz Festival Society. He's going to say a few words, and then he's going to introduce a video that they prepared as well to highlight the event. Nick, thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Mr. Sinoni. First of all, I want to thank Paulette Guajardo for supporting us and the council. Your great staff, great, wonderful people helping us. Mr. Sergio Gonzalez here helped out, and Mr. Bob. Robert Dodd, thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chief of Police, Mr. Marco, thank you, sir, and his staff. And they all help out, just to let you know that these guys are on call at all times and do a wonderful job. This year, we won't have the Texas Guard helping us this year, so they might have to do a little bit more than they usually typically do, but they do a very good job. Thank you.
They're up for it.
And again, thank everybody that's involved. I'm probably missing some people, but hopefully not, right? And I do want to say that this thing started in actually 1959 as a jam session, and if you know what a typical jam session is, these band members got together and they were trying to have a little good time, and they decided that people wanted to come and listen to them. So it started at Del Mar College, and of course, Beto Garcia and his staff, and his group, Eddie Olivares, the Galvan family, Wanda Gregory, and all these people got together and decided to make a band and set up a jam session, right? Well, people came from all over. They came from all over the city, and some people came from out of the city, from San Antonio, Houston, and Dallas. And we continue to have that support to those cities. And I just want to let everybody know where our money goes to when we do raise funds. And we also give money to Texas A&M University, Texas A&M Corpus Christi, Kingsville, and Del Mar College.
And that, by the way, is a just response.
We also give money to charities, churches, and things like that ask for support. So with that said, I want to thank everybody, thank the staff of Corpus Christi, City Police, and also the fire department. They also volunteered as first aid groups, so they'll be there, and they've always been there. So thank you very much. And with that said, I can continue with the with the video.
Yeah, we're going to roll that video now. This will give you just a quick highlight of some of the festivities that take place.
Since 1961, music has filled the air of the Texas Jazz Festival. 3 solid days of live music on 3 different stages. Fantastic food, charming market vendors, and more. The largest, longest-running free jazz festival in the world. It's one of the best ways to leave your troubles behind, soaking in the sounds of cool jazz. As fall begins in the coastal bend, it's free, fun, live entertainment at Heritage Park October 18th through the 20th. A unique music experience that is the Texas Jazz Festival.
All of the survivors of the sexual violence.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Before
Thank you,
you got
everybody.
this
Yeah,
job,
Nick, thank you so much for being here today, for putting this on.
Epstein files, telling podcasts and then
Great, okay, Mayor and Council, our second item is to announce a completed project, and Kevin Smith, our airport director, is here as well. Just want to point him out in the audience, but this next item is to highlight improvements at our Corpus Christi International Airport that include a new outdoor patio and an indoor lounge to be operated by Nueces Brewing and Barbecuing. So the 1,200 square foot elevated outdoor patio space that has been in the works for some time, we've known about it, offers panoramic views of the airfield and surrounding area. Kevin took me out there last week, and it's looking great. It features glass walls. There's a service animal relief area, complete with a fire hydrant and some, right? And there's plenty of seating for travelers, especially on mornings like this morning that are nice and cool to relax and enjoy the great outdoors. Spa Glass is the construction firm that managed the improvements for this project, which was completed earlier this month on October 3rd. The grand opening, though, will be this Thursday, right? Thursday, people can start to use it. A good thing about this is 90% of the funding came from the federal government, from the Federal Aviation Administration, and 10% came from airport revenues. And those revenues do not include the city's general fund. It does not include property tax or sales tax. So it's all the revenues that come from the airport rentals and airlines paying to use our space there. So located in front of the patio between gates 1 and 3 is the new lounge, Nueces Brewing Bar, which is a locally owned, and we know locally owned and town favorite for their local craft beers and Texas barbecue. The lounge features a horseshoe-shaped bar. There's several TVs, there's charging ports for your cell phones and computers, and separate seating that accommodates up to 23 people. And this will open on Thursday, so we'll get a chance to use that beginning Thursday. Construction of the new lounge was completed by South Texas Building Partners. They've done a lot of projects for the city, and this project was funded by Tailwind Concessions, which is our concessionaire at the airport. They're our food and beverage provider, so they paid for this construction, and they'll recoup the cost of the construction with the leases that they'll have in the future. Tailwind, just as a side note, is working on several projects that will come next at the airport, including Joe's Coffee. There'll be Amazon Just Walk Out store. There'll be a VIP lounge, and we know from council approving this action some time ago, Salty Oak Barbecue will be a concessionaire there as well at the airport. See, these are projects that come on board now that these 2 projects are done. So the recent enhancements at the airport offer a multitude of benefits for both the travelers and our local community, providing a new relaxing space to unwind and a wider variety of drinking and beverage options for people that leave Corpus Christi and then people that may arrive and may be waiting on people to pick them up. So the enhancements also contribute to the airport's overall image and visitor experience, positioning us to be a modern and more welcoming facility. I should say we're a very modern and welcoming facility, but this helps us to get even more so. The new amenities, as I mentioned, will be open to the public Thursday. Is that Thursday morning, Kevin, if you're leaving out? I don't know if you're going to buy a drink that early, but Thursday morning, and it's expected to generate revenue through increased beverage and food purchases, further benefiting the airport. That's a self-supported enterprise. It doesn't rely on any local taxes to run. So, Kevin, congratulations to you. I know many times I've been up there, you've been actively engaged in the project, even looking at some of the real fine details to making sure they're absolutely perfect, and that's what we like. So thank you for that. We do have a small video to show in case people won't be going out there anytime soon to show you these features, and we're going to roll that now.
The Corpus Christi International Airport completed a significant upgrade with the addition of a new outdoor patio and a new Oasis Brewing Bar. The 1,200 square foot elevated space offers panoramic views of the airfield and surrounding area. It features glass walls, a service animal relief area, and plenty of seating for travelers to relax and enjoy the scenery. Located in front of the patio is the new Nueces Brewing Bar. It features a horseshoe-shaped bar, TVs, charging ports, and separate seating accommodating up to 23 people. These enhancements offer a multitude of benefits for both travelers and the local community, providing a new relaxing space to unwind and a wider variety of dining and drinking options.
Well, the SAC.
That's great, yeah. So that's it. So make sure you stop in and see it for traveling public. Kevin, I don't know if you want to add anything else? Okay, I think we have it all covered. So congratulations to our contractors and especially our local businesses who will make this a new destination for our traveling public. Thank you. So Mayor and Council, that concludes the City Manager's report for this morning.
Okay, thank you, Peter. Well, it's 11:46, so we're going to go ahead. Well, no, we don't have the, do we have the
We do have
list
some
yet?
presentations, Mayor, if you want to start one.
You know what? Yes, I'm sorry, I'm not used to them being ahead. Yes, we have a couple more items before our public comment period. So item number 3 is the Nueces County Appraisal District Appointment Process Briefing.
A letter
Ryan,
from
okay.
Senator Tom Cotton dated last year urging the U.S. to, quote, ensure that data from U.S. companies is not harvested.
Morning, Mayor and Council. Ryan Skabarczyk, Director of Intergovernmental Relations, here just with a brief reminder about the new process for the Nueces County Appraisal District.
With photographs.
So, moving forward, City of Corpus Christi will participate with other eligible taxing entities to now vote on the available seats on the NCAD Board of Directors. For perspective and context, that's where the City of Corpus Christi ranks in order of taxing entities under NCAD's jurisdiction. You've seen this slide before, and this was sent to you via a memo from the NCAD Executive Director as well as our City Secretary, but this gives you some perspective on the number of votes that the City of Corpus Christi will have in this voting process. The City of Corpus Christi, under this formula laid out under state law, is entitled to 1,100 votes in a total universe of 5,005 votes. Your current NCAD, well actually your Board of Directors prior to the legislature making changes to appraisal districts was made up of the following individuals with their appointing entities. So where previously the City of Corpus Christi had 2 direct appointments to the NCAD Board of Directors, that obviously is changing.
But you weren't there at that time, right?
So if you'll recall, the City of Corpus Christi went through a nominations process where we sent a resolution to the appraisal district. All the other taxing entities had the same opportunity to do so. And the ballot has been returned to the City of Corpus Christi in early October. By the second public meeting, you, council, will have to return your ballot back with our votes allotted to our preferred candidates. And so these are the nominated individuals that will be present on the ballot, and then we've also shown here who the nominating entities are that have put them forward. As you can see, almost every nominated individual was put forward by one entity, with the exception of Ms. Sullivan, who was put forward by several.
By folks probably from Europe, North Korea, Russia, China.
Opportunity to hopefully have gotten all your thoughts together on this brand new process we're all participating in the first time for the City of Corpus Christi, and allot your votes accordingly as a council. Mayor, I'm standing ready for any questions.
Okay. I don't see any questions, Ryan. We appreciate the briefing.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And our next item, number 4, is a briefing from the Art Museum of South Texas.
That you're valuing some lives more than others, and that's painful. And this is what I'm hearing from
Hello. Good to see you all.
There are multiple instances
Sarah Morgan with the Art Museum of South Texas. Thank you for inviting me to be here today to give you an update on what we're doing down there.
Couldn't win a debate on a college campus. You cannot be intellectually honest and say that this problem is on both sides.
So everything we do at the Art Museum of South Texas
it's also what
relates back to our mission, and that mission is to advance the awareness, the appreciation of the visual arts, and we do that through providing exceptional exhibitions, dynamic education programs, by actively collecting and preserving our art collection. And we do that for all of our community, all of our visitors. So how do we do that?
Switching gears.
Our exceptional exhibition program, we just closed the King Ranch, A Legacy in Art, Paintings by Noe Perez exhibition. It was very popular. The significance of the King Ranch in our area really brought people to the museum to see that work. And then also the fact that we could honor Noe Perez, who's a local artist. He spent his career as an engineer, and since retirement, he has really just taken off and become an internationally acclaimed artist. So we were really happy to focus the spotlight on someone local like that. The next exhibition that we just opened in September was Target Texas Studio Practices. Target Texas is a biennial exhibition that we put on that always focuses on Texas artists, some emerging, some well-established, but we always have a theme around that. This year the theme is Studio Practices, so it kind of dives into how are these artists influenced by the area that they work in, and so there's a great mix of artwork there. It does feature one local artist, Elena Rodriguez, and then also Kermit Oliver, who was born and raised in Refugio. He lives in Waco now, but we'll forgive him for that. That show will be on display until January 26th.
The administration has complied with
Then our 2025 exhibition schedule, we have a wide array, lots of variety for next year. We will start the year with Home, Love, and Loss. We are in a cohort with 3 other Texas museums, Amon Carter Museum of Art in Fort Worth, Amarillo Museum of Art, and Ellen Noel in Midland. And this is the 3rd exhibition that we've worked on as a cohort. This exhibition will focus, put the spotlight on kind of everyday life and things that happen to all of us, experiences that we all go through, and it will all be pulled from the collections of all 4 of those museums. So we really are trying to work together to get the artwork that we hold in public trust out so the public can see it, so it's not just sitting in our vaults. So we'll start the year with that exhibition. Then the next one we'll open in May is the Wyeth. 3 generations from the collection, works from the collection of the Bank of America. You may all be familiar with Andrew Wyeth, but his father was also an artist, and 2 of his children were artists. And so this is 3 generations of the Wyeth family artwork, spanning from early 1900s to present day. I think the popularity, the notoriety of the Wyeths is really going to bring people in there, and I think they'll be surprised to see so much creativity in one family. At the same time, simultaneously, we're going to have a really important exhibition for Corpus Christi. It's the Chapman collection. It's the personal collection of Louise Chapman. And she started collecting years ago with her husband. I think that what people are going to, visitors to the museum are going to really see is the art of collecting, becoming a collector. It really doesn't take a lot of start collecting with what you want. And then she's been able to amass a really important collection here, and I think people are going to be surprised when they see
more access to folks both on the outside, and her ability to move freely when she has victimized over hundreds and hundreds of women. And I'll add one more thing to that. We've written to the DOJ, the Federal Bureau of Prisons, demanding answers, yet no response from the Attorney General. We have no idea why she was moved and who actually, at whose direction.
In the spirit of demanding that they do what they said they were going to do, I think I think we need to do more than what we're doing. Mr. Comer?
Yeah, I was just told by counsel, the documents pertaining to the move would fall under the Department of Justice subpoena. So I think that's a fair question that I'm confident if we don't ask it, Mr. Garcia will whenever we're.
Yeah, I'll tell you, this whole episode has been outrageous and it's disgusting. And it's been strange.
And really, work on the bipartisan oversight committee and making sure that these things are dealt with. I think it's a disservice to all of the victims to not work and to pretend that this is somehow bad But focus on it and make sure, I'm asking the Democrats, make sure that it's bipartisan. Make sure that you're doing what needs to be done, the disclosure's done and the investigation is done. Because this isn't something that should be.
And I want that investigation to move forward, but for the life of me, I do not understand why the administration, after promising to release all the files, has chosen not to. So that's what I'm confused about. And I thank the gentlelady for yielding.
Thank you. Mr. Comer, I think in your introduction, just for folks who are trying to play catch-up here, because there's a lot of details and a lot of names being thrown around, you said that one of the issues here is that...
And I don't even know what the hell happened to your resolution that you brought up before we kind of abruptly left early for our August recess. But yeah, this doesn't smell right. I think we need to get to the bottom of this, and that means that all the files have to be released. I yield back. I thank the gentlelady.
Thank you, Ranking Member. And, you know, I am chair of the Democratic Women's Caucus, and we are always concerned about the fact that in this country, women and children and girls, and I think that it is an outrage, as you pointed out, Ranking Member Garcia, that she is now been treated favorably by the Trump administration after saying some things they liked. And what we haven't heard from you, Chair Comer, is a commitment not to say, well, it's going to be in the subpoenas, but to have a hearing on why. Will you commit to having a hearing to determine why?
Okay. And so we'll see what happens next week. For now, Madam Chair, I'm glad that we're going to pass this resolution. I think it ensures that the committee continues to work and push forward, hopefully in a very bipartisan manner. I care about the victims. I don't care about. I don't care who the perpetrator is. I don't care if they ride an elephant or a donkey. I hope they get stepped on by whichever one they're part of. I mean, ultimately.
And I want to point out something earlier that was said by Ms. Ledger Fernandez. She brought up the issue that Democrats forced this out of the Oversight Committee. But if the gentleman would yield, sure. Mr. Comer, would you explain that? Because we do have a majority on the Oversight Committee. Right. How could the minority force the chairman of the
subpoenas and providing information to the Oversight Committee? Republican Oversight Committee has been putting forward information. We now have 34,000 more records out for the public to be able to look at, in addition to the reality that the people charged with prosecuting crimes have to be able to look at information that isn't necessarily going to be made public and shouldn't be. Mm-hmm. Correct?
Correct.
Like, we don't just say, oh, here's the mob boss files. Here, America, go forward and find all the mobsters. We don't do that with drug kingpins or cartels.
And now welcome our second panel, Chairman Comer and Ranking Member Garcia from the Committee on Oversight and Government Reform. Your full statement will be submitted for the record, and we ask you summarize your statement in 5 minutes. Chairman, I welcome your testimony.
Thank you, Dr. Fox and Mr. McGovern. Today, the Oversight Committee met with survivors of the crimes of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Their stories. When I was in the minority, a Democrat chairman subpoenaed any Democrat officials in the administration. So we've demonstrated we don't care about political party. We don't care about what your last name is. We don't care how powerful you are. We want to know the truth, and we're doing everything we can. And I hope that the Democrats will work with us in this endeavor and not politicize it. As
you just mentioned, there have been times when you have requested information. I can remember I'd been here 3 months and I was on the Oversight Committee, on a subcommittee, and we had a bureaucrat come in, and the chairman of the committee said, I've asked you for 3 years to give us information. The person just sat there and wouldn't say a word and wouldn't respond.
And Raj Krishnamurti, I believe, asked questions about what we should ask Acosta. So everybody, both sides are going to get equal time to interview Acosta on all of that. And again, The administration has complied with our request, and, I think we're getting those documents, and as we speak, they should be being uploaded to a website right now.
And it's my understanding that the members and disclose them to the people. You've made a commitment, and our resolution makes a commitment to disclose everything that can possibly be disclosed short of violating the privacy rights of others.
Yes, ma'am, 100%.
And by having the full House vote and speak in support of this investigation, it will.
Ms. Viles, and we want to see what they are. Is that correct?
Absolutely. I think we want to know what Attorney General Bondi told the president as it relates to his name being in the files, and has been widely reported. And I think the American public they have a right to know.
And I think that Americans are worried about trusting Republicans on this because now Chairman Comer is saying we're doing all these things. Had they done anything at all? And you said, I'm a Trump man.
I mean,
yes.
I support the president.
You support the president, and this is why it would be important to have in writing the bipartisan nature, because we want there to be bipartisanship so that it is not a.
I want it too, but you all aren't making a good case up here. But I'm hopeful that Mr. Garcia is going to see past the behavior of the Democrats on the Rules Committee.
Madam Chair, Chairman Comer, I was.
Signed by the president, is that correct?
In order, under the rule, and we could then all vote on it tomorrow as well. I thank the gentleman.
And for being transparent. A partisan vote in the House of Representatives, that only helps.
Okay, I appreciate that very much. Mr. McGovern.
Thank you very much. First, I think I want to ask unanimous consent to insert into the record the Massey Kana resolution, because you keep on saying that it doesn't protect the victims, but there's, in yellow here, there's some pretty explicit language about protecting the identity of the victim, so I don't want there to be any confusion.
Without objection.
And, and I got to be honest with you, we've been trying to bring, legislation to the floor. We're trying to, amend bills to try to get this administration to do what Trump said he was going to do during the campaign, and that is release all the files. We had to recess early because people didn't want to take a vote on it. And I think, I appreciate the niceties of both of you appearing before this committee. All right, so
and look, we have done everything bipartisan in this investigation. This is an opportunity, and I think most of the Democrats on the Oversight Committee want to be bipartisan in this, Mr. McGovern.
So you're not going to answer my question, but look, we're meeting here under an emergency procedure to consider this resolution, which, if I'm reading it right, simply tells your committee to continue doing what you're doing. Do you need this resolution to continue doing what you're doing, Mr. Garcia?
And then if sufficient people sign the discharge petition, then it will come out. And it's my understanding there is a significant difference in the resolution, the Massey resolution, and that is this resolution demands disclosure, whereas the Massey resolution does not. So I think we can do both and let that happen. We want to show
Maxwell is a terrible individual. And I guess the question is, maybe you can enlighten us, what have you done to investigate why Ms. Maxwell was moved to a minimum security facility? She's a convicted child predator, sent to prison. She testifies before some people in the administration. She didn't testify. She answers questions that are put forward by you, and it sounded like there was no cross-examination. I'm just curious why, after she said what she said, was she moved? So it's not about Ms. Maxwell, it's about somebody made the decision to move her, which I don't think was expected. Mr. Garcia?
Yeah, look, let's be really clear. First of all, Democrats on the committee, we did not support moving Ghislaine Maxwell's testimony after the Supreme Court heard her appeal. In fact, that was a decision that the majority made that we did not.
Bill, and I hope that we will do that. I hope my friends on the Rules Committee will allow us to offer it because I'll bring it up as an amendment. I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. McGovern. Ms. Fishbach, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
And I've also, we began our August recess early because none of you wanted to take a vote and hold this administration accountable, and you ran out of town. So again, and want to do something bipartisan? Maybe we all can join on a bipartisan appeal to this administration to find out why Ghislaine Maxwell was moved to a cushy facility after she exonerated Donald Trump.
And pleased to have been able to sign the discharge petition before we came up for this hearing, so thank you.
And I don't even know what the hell happened to your resolution that you brought up before we kind of abruptly left early for our August recess. But this doesn't smell right. I think we need to get to the bottom of this, and that means that all the files have to be released. I yield back, I thank the gentlelady.
Thank you, Ranking Member. And, I am chair of the Democratic Women's Caucus, and we are always concerned about the fact that in this country, women, and by women like Maxwell, and I think that it is an outrage, as you pointed out, Ranking Member Garcia, that she has now been treated favorably by the Trump administration after saying some things they liked. And what we haven't heard from you, Chair Comer, is a commitment not to say, well, it's going to be in the subpoenas, but to have a hearing on why. Will you commit to having a hearing until Democrats force the vote, and then you had 2 Republicans vote against it nevertheless? Is that correct?
Including the subcommittee chairman, I believe.
Including the subcommittee chairman. So leaders in the committee voted against the subpoenas. Now, they're taking, and so this is why Americans might be worried about whether they're going to be forthcoming. Now, Chairman Comer, this resolution would give you, and only you, the power to decide what information in these documents is redacted or with.
And the body that is responsible for leading it, the Republican Party, has a steering committee. And on that steering committee in which I serve, we unanimously elected Mr. Comer to lead the Oversight Committee, and then he was unanimously ratified by our conference. So to me, we as a body have spoken as it relates to who we want to lead investigative work. The Oversight Committee, as the chairman has no doubt noted throughout this entire hearing, has already yielded, 34,000 documents.
Going with the advice for the counsel of the victims today, which we had already planned on this, but we're definitely moving in that direction, is to go after the bank records and the suspicious activity reports, much like we did in the Biden family influence peddling investigation. Identify accounts and see what usually the banks catch, Ralph and everybody that's been involved in banking. They know the banks are
and reminded of the monstrous actions that they took against over 1,000 women and girls, or any other resolutions that come forward that also holds Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and anyone else accountable. And I'll conclude just by saying that it is our hope that this investigation takes on and leads us to the truth, and we do not care how powerful you are, what political party you're in, how much wealth you have, or how connected you are. If you cause harm to these women and these girls, then we're coming after you, and justice should be served.
And for being transparent.
And as you just mentioned, there have been times when you have requested information. I can remember when I'd been here 3 months and I was on the Oversight Committee, on a subcommittee, and we had a bureaucrat come in, and the chairman of the committee said, I've asked you for 3 years to give us information. And the person just sat there and wouldn't say, and disclose them to the people. Yes. You've made a commitment, and our resolution makes a commitment to disclose everything that can possibly be disclosed short of violating the privacy rights of others.
Yes, ma'am, 100%.
And by having the full House vote